Sunday service, Sunday, and basically every Sunday that we ever had for the last few weeks. It's been really busy, really busy. I'm only back from Finland, and Finland has been an adventure that I wasn't expecting. A total adventure, really like out there, balls to the wall, proper sort of adventure. Oh my God, my phone has just suddenly decided to freak out. That's not good, is it? Well done, phone. Thanks, phone, on doing that. My phone just suddenly decided it needs to trust the computer. It wasn't expecting that one, like it never happened before. We've obviously never plugged into the wall before. Well, my laptop actually did break down recently. And that's why I had to slow down on the videos coming out, because there wasn't enough videos, and it became this big issue within Apple, and who couldn't help me, and they were useless, I have to say. All they wanted to do was get money off me to fix my laptop. I ended up fixing myself, but I had to blank the entire thing from scratch, total wipe down of the entire system, and eventually got it working again, 100%, which is just as good. Sorry, I was just eating. It's not good. Good afternoon, everybody who's just landing in there. I've spent a morning editing footage from Finland, which I brought back 39.5 gigabytes of footage from Finland. So I think I brought back enough somehow. It was pretty good. But I used a drone over there. Thank you very much to the Finland Tourist Board, who I got in touch with to ask what's the story with drones in Finland, and they go, whatever you want to do, as long as you're not flying near an airport or a helipad or anywhere that's kind of puts a threat on other aviation. They didn't really mind where I flew, so I ended up flying quite a bit and flying over lakes and things. The problem with Finland was absolutely everything is white. Everything is white. So you take off and you fly into the air and you see white, and then you see more white, then you see some trees and forests, and then it's like white forever. So it's kind of hard to film there, but it did film some really interesting bits. I got to drive an ex-Formula 1 driver as well, Hans Stuck, who is an incredible driver, a man probably twice my age, but his ability to navigate and control a car was incredible. And I just found this morning the magazine that I took off the airplane, Blue Wings it's called, by Finnair. It's actually got some really interesting facts in the background, which if you were on my Instagram, you would have seen that little fact page, because I tweeted it or put it up on Instagram. What Instagrammed it? Instagrammed it? Do you say grammed it or Instagrammed it, or what do you say? But I put it out there. Good magazine that for Finnair, and Finnair themselves have, listen to this, Ryanair and Aer Lingus have very big seat capacity. Really nice, really plenty of room to sit there. Although I have hurt my back, I have a slip disc again, which I did skidding and sliding on ice, doing donuts and things. But I have all the footage on Final Cut now, and I'm starting to root through the footage to see what I can use and what I can't use. So hopefully I'll be able to use it all. Got some great photographs as well. Interesting stuff that I'm going to be putting on Instagram over the next while. Get a, what is that? Get a micro disectomy. What's that mean? Hi, Sean McCabe is checking in for the first while. Loads of people just said hello there all the way along. CD Modelez, David Allen, Ray Mulvaney. There's Ray. John Kerman, DZG, Marlon M. You're very good. Cut off your slipped disc. Oh, I'd love that. Oh, I'd love that. Very expensive, very hard to do. I can actually fix it. It will. My slip disc, my back will fix if I give it a chance. It just happened on Friday, I think. Or was it Thursday? Thursday, I think, in Finland. It didn't stop me drifting cars. I can absolutely tell that for sure. What is my favourite cup now? It's an Audi cup with a little Christmas tree on it. They gave it to me for Christmas. But it's one of those cups that's exactly the right size. Have you ever freaked out about that? Yeah, I got a cold as well in Finland. It wasn't terribly cold in Finland. -2, -3, -4. Real feel of maybe -10. But I had big boots and I had a big jacket. It was fine. It was fine up there. The problem is boredom, I think. I Instagram story every single day while I was there, loads of times. So it was all on Instagram, all sitting up there. There will be a video, probably 2 or even 3 videos out of that trip. Really, really good trip. Got to spend time with cars in a way that you wouldn't expect. I drifted a Skoda Kodiaq, unadapted, an ordinary one as you buy the thing. I drifted it on ice, drove it up basically a mountainside, and it worked absolutely perfectly. So really good. Let's have a look and see if there's any questions coming in. There is loads. Oh my God, loads already. Doc says Canada is quite white at this time of the year as well. Yeah. I also understand I spent a bit of time with Mark up there. That in Toronto area of Canada, it doesn't really snow all that often. I always thought it was very snowy anywhere in Canada, but it's not. Best SUV at the moment, Bob. What is it? Depends what you want for Martin. Do you want a real proper off-roady thing, or you want something that looks really stylish, looks like an SUV, but actually behaves like a standard car? Best of both worlds, Skoda Kodiaq is a proper SUV when you want it to be. If you buy the 4x4 version, it uses a Haldex clutch system underneath, and so it works absolutely perfectly. Buy it in DSG, it's worth it. If you're looking for something that's a soft roader, smaller than that SUV, the Skoda Karoq. You've got tons in this segment now. That segment's going to be polluted with stuff, but the smaller ones, and then even smaller again, something like a VW T-Roc. You know, there's loads out there in that segment, but what do you want to do with it first is the main important part. Bob, is the Suzuki Vitara 1.4 booster jet any good? Yes, it is. Booster jet's one of my favorite engines that Suzuki have made. Suzuki really turned the corner a couple of years ago on the kind of cars that they're bringing out. They've done a really, really big job on redesigning it. A few weeks' time, they're bringing out the Suzuki Swift Sport as well. The booster jet engine is a perfect little thing. You would really struggle to tell it's a small engine. You really would. It's just such a smart car. Go on, Bob. How was the man in the red suit? I met him, and anybody who's followed me on Instagram would have seen me with Santa, 100%. And he made a special video for my daughters. Such a nice guy. Made a special video for my daughters, and I gave that video to my daughters, obviously, directly talking to them. It was really, really good. It went to Lapland, so it went right inside the Arctic Circle and right up to Santa Claus village, which is just on the side of the road. You're just driving along the R75 or something it is, and it's just on the side of the road beside a petrol station. Petrol is very expensive in Finland, by the way. There's Fuddy Ferrari, come on. For a lad with a bad back too, yeah, I know I do have a terrible bad back, but it works most of the year. I'm fine. Most of Canada is completely different from Toronto. Yeah. Bob, can you talk about that new Volvo XC60? XC60 is one of my favorite cars that Volvo make. The XC40 is the prettiest car I have seen in that segment in years. An incredible design. Beautiful, beautiful car. But XC60 is actually my favorite car of the Volvo range to drive. I find the XC90 a little bit boring. It's just too big. It's too shallow. It's too wallowy or something. I don't know. They just haven't quite worked that one out. So the XC60 is a good and engaged car. Buy a 4x4. Only buy it in automatic, even no matter how it's offered to you, but just buy it in automatic. So that's it for Volvo. It wasn't a whole lot more to Volvo after that. The XC40's coming. I had that in a couple of weeks' time. It's going to be a nice, it looks like a nice car. I've had a little poke about inside it already. Cheers to Michael, who gave me a little poke about in his one, press car. It's a lovely car, really nice car. Sean McCabe says he has a problem with his back today as well. No crack at all. Look after your back, lads. I've had it for years and years since I was a young guy. I slipped a disc. I don't remember when I did it, but I remember it being very sore every year. Look after, do your back strengthening exercises, do squats and things. Happens to me every once in a while. It usually happens when I spend a lot of time on airplanes, and I spent like 5 or 7, I don't know, 6 hours or something flying to Finland and back, because we had to go through Helsinki to go to a place called Rovaniemi or something like that. It was a really nice place. Do you think VW will ever bring diesel back to North America? Only if they do it through a PR scheme. North America is not that interested in diesel, and wasn't. Volkswagen was forcing the market to look at diesel. For whatever reason, North America has never really had a good relationship with diesel, and mainly because they actually produce their own petrol. And there's great interest over there in consuming as much of it as possible, because the industry is absolutely gigantic. And getting 12 or 11 or 10 or whatever it is litres per 100 kilometres is nigh on impossible in most of those Fords. And so some of them are diesel, but it's agricultural, really dirty crap diesel. So if Volkswagen is going to go back, they're going to have to do a massive PR job up there and try and get it back that way. Hi Bob, some great shots and videos from Finland. Nice one. Yeah, you follow on Instagram, I take it. Anything you want to check out Instagram. There's loads of drone footage. It's at Bob Flavin on Instagram. There's loads of drone footage there of what I was looking at. We were in this frozen lake forest zone. We're driving around acting the balls, to be honest with you. Bob, do you ever watch any of these car YouTubes? Laden 61 or Margaret ER? No, I haven't seen them. There's so many of them now. I don't know most of them. A lot of these guys review their own cars. Some of these guys are wealthy little guys with nothing better to do and figure the best thing to do is review cars. And they become yes man. You become sort of, yay, this is great. I love it. I love getting all these free cars. When actually your job there is to review cars. I tested the DJI, not Spark, I don't know, one of the little DJI things in Finland. A cameraman had it. And I'd heard great things. All these YouTubers going, it's a great camera, it's a brilliant camera, it's a brilliant camera. I flew it for 5 seconds and went, that's crap. It's crap. It doesn't level properly. It's only a 2-axis gimbal. It's absolutely rubbish. Don't buy that Spark thing. Buy the Mavic Pro. It's the only one to use. Paul Madden, do you think the majority of CPC renewals coming up, in 2019 will return to cars for finance to remainder? I don't know. The market is in turmoil at the moment. Literally, it's fallen off a cliff. Nobody wants to really admit what's after happening over the last couple of years. That car sales are falling and falling and falling. But we're getting a better return on our cars. So the people who are buying cars are buying them through finance. And that's a problem. There's currently, and I heard this the other day, is it's 2.6 billion or 3.6 billion that's out there in finance from car companies, not from banks. So bear that in mind. There's actually car companies that are footing the bill on all of this, including Volkswagen, but Renault Bank, Ford have opened a bank. There's all sorts of stuff. So you know, you got a lot to do. There's a lot going on at the moment. Right now, the consumer is winning. The consumer is absolutely winning. The choice in the market is gigantic. So don't be afraid in that respect. But it's all about the consumer with me. So I'm happy enough with that. But I'd like to see the car industry survive here and do a better job of what it's doing. I've been investigating the history of car companies in Ireland, and I actually am filming. In about 2 weeks' time, I'm filming a pilot for television. So, well, it probably will never go on television. TV doesn't seem to get on with me. So I'll probably end up putting it right here, but it might be on television. V60 coming out on Wednesday. Is it? I don't know. I've been stuck in Finland for 3 days. I haven't seen any news about anything, so probably is. Hello Bob, I'm looking for a new car. Do I go with a reliable? Does everything go well? Audi A4 or have the fun and sexy yet unproven Alfa Giulia? That's how much money you've got in the bank. With your heart, Alfa Giulia. With your head, Audi A4. I prefer to see you in what you want to drive rather than what you think you should drive in a sensible way. You won't regret owning an Alfa. I always struggle. People always go, oh, Alfas are terrible. But actually, I always struggle with the fact that I've never really had an Alfa Romeo owner come on to me and go, I hate my Alfa. I've never really had that. Everyone who owns them loves them. So I don't know whether that's something you could do or not. Anyway, thank you all for hitting me up here. Click the like button, please, while you're here, would you, if you wouldn't mind, just to get that thing moving. It's really good, because that just tells YouTube that this is happening, and YouTube algorithm goes, oh, look, something's happening. People are clicking something or other. And to send more people this way. It's the greatest scam ever. It's like bait and switch all the time, but you have to do it. Also, I keep looking at this woman's hairstyle. Look at her hairstyle. I'm sure she's very nice, but she could have done a better hairstyle than that. It's a real Nordic thing, that kind of a hairstyle. Anyway, not to draw your attention to that, I was just looking at the hairstyle. 54 watching, 22 likes, hit the like button. Commander 68 watching now, 44 likes. That's good. Hit that like button in the face, says Jacksepticeye, which I do watch from time to time. He's very energetic though. In that segment, are there any better than the RS3? I doubt it. No, there isn't. RS3 is king of basically any segment. I actually watched the Grand Tour last night. I think it was episode 2, where Clarkson had an RSTT. So the TT, which is basically the same car from Audi, but in a TT guise. So it still has almost 400 horsepower. I think they turned it down ever so slightly in the TT. And he liked it. It was a funny episode, kind of, in places. But the RS3, the one that I had, the saloon version of it, is the absolute murderous king of anything out there. And I'll argue that point with anybody over any car, no matter how much horsepower it has. I'm still happy. I would still be delighted to have an RS3 outside the door. New cars are just way too expensive here compared to Europe. Yeah, we do have a crap tax that nobody ever wants to talk about, no matter who you talk to, no matter how you talk to them, no matter SIMI or car dealerships or anybody else. You talk about VRT and you go, what about VRT? And you go, oh no, don't touch the VRT, leave the VRT alone. But actually we just get ripped off here in this country. It's a completely wrong tax, and Europe knows it, and have been struggling with Ireland for years over this. So We should get rid of VRT. It should be gone, but they don't want to do it. So you have to do it. Not up to me. You guys have to grab the thing by the horn and go after your local TD about VRT. Is the Arteon worth waiting for, or just get an Audi A5? The Arteon's out. What are you waiting for? Oh, you've ordered one. There's a waiting list for it, is it? Audi's interior is nicer. There's where it ends, though, really. After that, they're basically kind of the same car. You get a bit more torque in the Audi because it's Audi engines. But I don't know. Do you like the A5 more than the Arteon, or do you like the Arteon more? I mean, it's just the exterior, really. Hey Bob, what's your opinion on the Seat Ibiza? One of my cars of the year, Seat Ibiza by far. Buy the standard 1 litre engine one. It's quite a lovely little 3-cylinder thing. It'll work absolutely perfectly. Good boost, good back seat. Really big car. Like it's not small anymore. But it's very pleasant to drive. Really nice. It's probably the best car that Seat have brought out in a few years now. BMW driving experience around Mondello. Do a track day or a cheap little hot hatch. I always advise people to do a track day of any kind, whether you bring your own car or you take somebody else's car. I don't mean take somebody, but I mean, you know, Mondello give you a car, or you go up to check out Rally School Ireland, look for David Smith up on Rally School Ireland. Tell him that Bob sent you. That's a really good day out. Good laugh up there, honest to God. The track is very small though. You won't get up much speed, but you will learn how to handle a car like nothing else because it's so tight. 3 laps and you'll be sweating. That's the way that one works, right? Rally School Ireland. Mondello is a speed track, so there is a handling element to it. There is parts with that upset suspension like nothing else. But it's also got huge runoffs and huge areas that you can, you know, the fear goes out of it. And actually, you go down the main straight, doing 170, 180 kilometers an hour down the main street, you're going, yeah, okay, I feel like I'm standing still. Use the track cars that Mondello have. The BMW driving experience is actually pretty good. But like any of those driving experiences is actually pretty good. But I would highly advise doing both of them, to do Rally School Ireland ones in Monaghan and do the one that Mondello have as well, because they're both really, really worth your time. You learn so much about car control in those kind of days out that it's just brilliant. Cormac says, hi Bob, looking for a car to take 3 seats in the back. The S-Max, the best option. Kind of S-Max, Galaxy. If you're looking kind of used cars, you could look at the Volkswagen, what's the big one? Charan. Any of those actually have 3 individual sliding seats. And they're the only ones I've ever seen to take full 3. Even the modern SUVs don't really take a full 3 child seats. I only have 2 kids, but I often had adults sitting between the 2 child seats in the back. So, my God, look at all the questions. Now we're doing well. 77 watching, 54 likes. Click the like button, guys. Hit the like button right in the face. You can choose to look after this live stream, and you can sponsor it, and you can take part in it in a monetary way. If you look at the links down below, you can do it by PayPal, you can do it by Patreon, you can do it by cryptocurrency, you can do it by Super Chat. Any one of those at all, and any amount of money is always welcome, hugely welcome. I need to upgrade my Mac, but I don't mean I'm going to buy a new one. I mean I'm going to actually take out and put an SSD drive into it and things. Which would you choose, a Volkswagen Tiguan or a Skoda Karoq? Skoda Karoq. That's I like both, to be honest with you. But you have to kind of spend a bit of money on a Tiguan to make it look the one that I like, Tiguan. The one that I like has 19-inch alloys and has a kind of it's like a middle spec one or an S-line spec like an Audi. I don't know what Volkswagen actually call it, but the Karoq is the Karoq out of the box, so it looks like that all along. It's quite nice. But I would pick the Karoq out of those two. How about 2013 or Insignia or Passat? Don't buy an Insignia, George. Seriously, don't buy. Don't buy one. You'll drive yourself insane unless you're that Vauxhall Opel kind of person and you know your way around you and you're happy in Vauxhall or Opel. Then you'd be okay. But really, 2013, that was the one where they took the shotgun and just fired all the buttons at the dashboard, and it's a mess. It'll drive you insane. Buy the Passat. Don't buy the Vauxhall. The only one that's be worth buying that isn't out of those two would be if you're looking at SRI or one of the kind of faster ones. Then Insignia is pretty good, but after that, not. Any plans to review the Volvo XC40? Yes, it'll be on my driveway in 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something like that. But there will be a full and comprehensive review on that channel of the XC40. Yes, definitely. Tom Crockett, hi Bob. I've been driving a Mini Countryman this last week and as a hire car. Wow, poor you. 28 grand car, and I think it needs to be massive Mini fan to buy one. If it was my 28 grand, I'd be spending it elsewhere. Absolutely, Tom, totally agree with you. Mini is overpriced, although there is a lot of kit in a Mini. I mean, there's a lot. There's that electronic dashboard thing. There's all sorts of steering wheels. There's lots of incentives to have it, but it is definitely more visual, more historical look. It's all about the brand. It's about buying into the brand. I like Minis. I really do. I've never liked the price of them. I've always thought they were far too much money for the stuff you actually get in them. And as a hire car, it would be fairly miserable with the amount of stuff you're going to get in it. Brian, what do you think will happen to a 181 BMW 6 Series GT in 3-4 years in terms of value after costing €104,000 with options? Family member wouldn't consider a Tesla Model S starting around 100 grand. Whoa, it's going to be a hard one to predict, but generally speaking, over 3-4 years, all cars go about 50%, 60% to 40% in that region, depending on how you look after. But about 40% of the value is always pretty much average. 6 Series is always worth a bit of money, simply because it's a desirable executive car. People always go after desirable executive cars. Tesla will not be worth as much as people think it is because it will move. The car has not changed since it come out. It's good 5 years old at this stage, Model S, even though it gets little upgrades along the way. So a Model S you buy today will probably be gone in 2 years' time. They can't keep a model on that long. Model 3 is probably more sensible at the moment, but it's still going to be worth money, the 6 Series. It'll probably be still worth a bit more money than the Tesla, but we don't know where the market is going to be in 3 years' time when it comes in terms of diesel. It's so hard to predict what's going to happen next. I think there will be a fall in the amount of people wanting diesels, but whether that'll carry on to devalue diesels over time, it depends on how the government taxes. Hi Bob, is there any not normal brand which makes better cars than VWs, except brands of their own group like Skodas and Seats? Any makes better cars? Ooh, not really, Marco. Volkswagen were investing 2-point-something billion euro every single year in research and development. That was through the group system. So most of that was spent through Audi system, who got all the stuff first. I think that research and development system has actually increased, not decreased. So I think they spend more these days on research and development. So it's very hard to beat something like that. It's very hard to go in as a smaller, more bespoke car company and create something that's better than Volkswagen when they spend that much money on just making a Golf, right? So it's really hard place to compete. Volvo, I would say, they don't have the best brands, the amount of cars in the brand, but they're doing a really good job of what they've got. Mazda make an incredible amount of cars, but they get left behind. They make a great car and then they get left behind on tech all of a sudden, because Europe moves very fast with tech, whereas Japan tends not to, or Asians tend not to. Hyundai Kia Group make really good cars as well. So, but at the moment, the one really watching the Volkswagen Group is Skoda. They are going places. They are going there fast. I do hope they don't do themselves harm now in the next 12 months. I predict that Skoda now is starting to lose its kind of fun, colloquial edge on a global scale because their sales are improving. They're getting a lot more staff. They have new people. I met some new people on that trip to Finland on Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, actually. So, there's new people moving in. It's very hard to keep up with them all. And the thing that made them very successful was their approachability. You could approach anybody from Skoda Group, but now it's quite a big group, so it's much harder to kind of find the one you're looking for. Scrolling back, so I'm catching up on you. I'm not catching up on you. Let's see all the questions. Click that like button, please, everybody. 85 of you watching. My God, this is going to be a really busy week. So click the like button, please. Be great. That just tells Google what's going on. Hi Bob, what's your prediction on electric car sales over the next 5 years? Also, will the autonomous cars ever take off? If so, when? Electric car sales are improving, but improving from 0 to where they are now is quite easy. Improving the rest of the way is going to be the problem. We are going to see an increase and adoption of electric cars, especially when we reach the 500 or 600 kilometer range on a battery. Then you will see a very fast exception of cars. Right now we're at about 300, 280 to 300, 310. It's very usable, very usable. But until we reach double that again, then people will really start adopting it. Second part of your question was autonomous cars. Autonomous cars will kind of take off. They work on motorways. like I said, I was in Finland last Wednesday. There's no way an autonomous car could do what I was doing in Finland on their normal highway. Active cruise control would work, but lane keeping, there were no white lines. There's no lines. They're gone. It's just the road is white. So it doesn't happen. So autonomous driving will work under certain circumstances, but I don't know right now. I still think it's 5 years, give or take, and autonomous driving will be here in a bigger sense than it is right now. Bob, did you ever think the new T-Roc had cheap interior plastic? What was the overall opinion of T-Roc? I like T-Roc, yes. They have budget plastic. I don't like to say cheap because cheap is relative. So it's relative to what's cheap to me is not necessarily cheap to you. What's expensive to me is not really necessarily expensive to you. So those two words are usually off limits. So what I do is I tend to go for that kind of budget stuff. So the T-Roc is designed to fit into a certain category. It's designed to go after a certain kind of market. And that market is the visual market, the one outside, the kind of 5-door hatchback. It's replacing the cheap 5-door hatchback, the one that everybody thinks of as like Suzuki Swift and Seat Ibiza and stuff. It's designed to compete in that segment, actually, even though it's an off-roader. So, and so they have to make exceptions, and some of that comes down to the interior plastics. They have to go down a little bit. I still wouldn't have a problem with it, though. Whoa, that's a lot of questions. Just one. Not premium, I meant. Arteon is not out in Canada yet. Sort that out, Canada. What's wrong with you? Arteon's gorgeous. No problem, Sean Cashin, thank you very much. Hi, Bob. Did you say you were driving the Nero plug-in hybrid this week? How was it? It's outside the door. I don't think plug-in stuff really helps a whole lot. It gives you 50-kilometer range. You plug it in and charge it absolutely maximum. You will eat that 50-kilometer range the second you start driving it. And then it's no longer a plug-in, you know, and it's not an electric car anymore, it's just a hybrid. But the Nero does a good job of being just a hybrid. I drove that up to Dublin. I had a full charge, drove it to Dublin Airport. It became a hybrid almost immediately reaching the motorway. I drove it back down from Dublin Airport, and I haven't charged it since. So I'll charge it again. It's okay. It's all right. Just buy the hybrid ones, though. I don't think I'd bother paying the excess for a plug-in hybrid. I think I'd just buy a hybrid. Hi Bob, thinking of going for a Golf GTD 2015. What do you think of them? Or else your beloved Skoda Octavia RS. Buy the Octavia RS. No, actually a Golf GTD 2015 is actually pretty good. Just make sure it's had its recall and that the diesel emission thing has been done on it and all that stuff is finished before you touch the thing. Because if you have to get that done, you'll find a performance difference straight away. Octavia RS is a great car, but now it's basically the same. If it's a diesel one, it's basically the same car. So whatever you think is the one that you like the most. I like to look at the Octavia RS, but GTD is a fine car. What is your views on the MG ZS? I wish it would go away. Everybody asks about MG. MG's dead, lads. I wouldn't bother with them. The only thing that's supporting them right now is foreign money, Chinese money. The cars, from people I trust, from journalists I trust, I'm told that they drive rubbish, that they understeer a lot, that they're just not the MG of old. They're trying to resurrect a brand that doesn't exist anymore. My God, there's nearly 100 of you watching right now. So we all click the like button, which is absolutely fabulous. But this is probably going to turn out to be the biggest week that I've had on this live stream. So thank you very, very much for watching. Click the subscribe button if you've never been here before, because that's the most important part, is subscribe. But if you want to financially support this podcast, you can say podcast because it's becoming a podcast. You can do it on the links down below, or you can hit the super chat, or whatever way you want to. There's loads of links down there to be able to support us any way you want. And I'm also accepting a sponsor for the Sunday service. So if someone's looking to sponsor something that gets in front of the eyeballs of 1,500 car nut people, let me know, and you can sponsor just this podcast on its own. It will be a proper podcast as well, by the way. I'll be turning it into a podcast very soon. So click the like button. Thanks. Any opinions on car theft in Ireland? Could you ever relax having a fast car driven there? Yes. Nah, look. Car theft. There's a lot of figures go around about car theft in Ireland and about people breaking into the front doors and stealing keys. Look, it's a car. It's insured. It's insured. That's what you pay insurance for. You know, a car gets stolen. It's insured. Now, no harm in getting a tracker, getting an alarm, getting, you know, all the fast cars that I have outside the door, including the Audi RS3, had a tracker on it. And it's written on the window. There's a tracker on the side of it. So you steal the car, and 30 seconds later, Audi's ringing me because they're wondering where the car is going, you know. And then we can track the car right across the country instantaneously and track it down, all sorts of stuff. So, like, I'm not worried about that sort of stuff. It's terrible that you can't have nice things, but at the same time, you know, that's what insurance is for. I went back too far, did I? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I'm not back far enough at all yet. My God, there's so many questions. This is fab. Thanks very much. About the Ibiza, I think the best version you can get is the CNG, compressed natural gas, 1 litre, 90 horsepower and low consumption. Do we get a natural gas version of it here? I don't think we do. Although the nearest refuel station is 17 kilometres away, about 15 minutes. Sorry I'm late, says Northern Bluebird. Don't do it again, Northern Bluebird. Sean Farrell, hi Bob, I'm thinking about being a DS5 1-year-old. What do you think? DS5, let me think. Analysing, it's like the Matrix inside my head now. DS5. Yeah, they're not a bad car. Citroen failed to ignite in me for whatever reason it is. And it's just kind of, I'm not too sure. The brilliant design, beautiful to look at, all of them. But then you drive and it's kind of bad gearbox and kind of weird way of sitting on them. So if you really like them, I'm 100%, but definitely try other brands on the edge. Have a look at Peugeot. Have a look at, you know, the opposite brand of them. Some of the Opels now are Peugeots as well, so you look at those too. But there's better cars than the DS5, but if it's lighting your fire, then that's the right car to have. Hit the like button for Bob, says Mark Cook. Yes, do that. Hey Bob, Tesla Model S is too low for the disabled person. It is. You won't be able to get into that car really easy, Model S. Model X you will, but Model X in Ireland is nearly £250,000. So enjoy that one. But Tesla Model S is actually quite low slung. Yeah, you kind of step down into the car. There's a Tesla event coming up soon. Is it tomorrow? I can't remember if it's tomorrow or not. But anyway, there's a Tesla event coming up in Ireland shortly. Toyota, Honda, more reliable than VW brand. I don't necessarily agree with that, Wayne. There is an element of Japanese cars being more reliable over the long term. So in 5 or 6 years' time, your Toyota, your Honda, whatever it is, will still be trucking on and your Volkswagen will start to get trouble. But I don't think that actually bears relation to recalls and reliabilities and things. I think both companies will be pretty flat across the board as to who's the most reliable. There's brand perception, and the perception of a Toyota or Honda is that they're more reliable from years ago. Like the perception of a Fiat is to be very unreliable, like Alfa Romeo is to be very unreliable. But actually, I don't know whether they are or not. I don't think so. GP O'Rourke, hi Bob, why are all the car dealers not going mad about the government plan to stop selling diesel and petrol cars in 2030? Surely they will suffer a lot, as well as forecourt garages. I absolutely guarantee you they will not do that in 2030 or 2040. That ban will never, ever happen. There is no government, there's nothing you've read on Facebook, nothing you've read in any of the newspapers, including the Journal, which is absolute, complete horseshit. It has been made up from scratch and it's totally fake news and it's clickbaity stuff. There is no way they're going to ban petrol and diesel by 2030 or by 2020 or by 2040 because there is a giant commercial industry that 100% relies on diesel and petrol to get itself around the place. You even start thinking down to things like forklifts, shunting trucks in yards. You've got trucks that circle this country every single day. There is nothing going to happen to those trucks. They are going to stay exactly the way they are. There's an agricultural centre right here in Portlaoise. He sells tractors. All of them are diesel. All of them are 150 to 200,000 euros a piece to replace. How does that work? By 2030, all these farmers have to get rid of all their diesel units. It won't happen. It won't. It's all horseshit. So ignore that one. But at the same time, that doesn't mean we shouldn't be trying to get out of diesel as ordinary users on the road. We're better off in electric. It's nearly free to drive an electric car these days, by the way. Right, there you are. That's why car dealers aren't going mad, by the way, because it's not going to happen. Any chance of Skoda coming to North America? I did a little video on a Skoda Octavia in North America. I was in Washington at the time, Washington, D.C. Obama was your president, and he was very nice. Bring him back. I don't know. It would dilute the brand, and Volkswagen are already in trouble in the US over there. So launching a brand new brand like Skoda over there on the unsuspecting public would probably make some sales, but then you have to put in the infrastructures, having the dealers and having the support crews and having the service departments and all that stuff. So if they're going to do it, they improve their sales in the UK and Europe, and then push on to other countries would be the best way to do it. Colin Foley, hi Bob, trading a 2013 Mondeo and considering either a new Hyundai Tucson or a Peugeot 3008. Which one would you go for? Hyundai Tucson has a better warranty, 5-year unlimited mileage on a Hyundai Tucson. But when you go to drop your kids to school or you're driving up the road, you're going to be surrounded by Hyundai Tucsons. They were the #1 selling car in Ireland. I would look for one maybe 2 years old or a year old and try and buy that one. Peugeot 3008 is undoubtedly a better looking car, beautiful to look at, lovely to drive, really nice thing, but warranty is quite low, and the price differential, Peugeot charge a tiny bit more for Hyundai or than Hyundai for the same car. I would, personally speaking, go for the Hyundai Tucson because I'd buy that kind of car with my head and not with my heart. Have you driven a new Nissan Leaf? I haven't. Nissan booked in with me to have a first drive in Ireland thing going on, so I will be driving at some point, but I haven't driven it yet. I haven't even talked to someone who's driven it yet, so it seems to be exciting, but we'll see. I think Nissan have missed the boat to get the lead on the car companies. I think every car company is going to do it very soon. Volkswagen Ireland have come at me for that. Remember, I wanted to do a long-term drive of a car, electric car. So Volkswagen have stepped up to the mark, spot on. Volkswagen Ireland, they are going to provide either a GTD or a Golf E. I'm not too sure which one. It could be a plug-in hybrid or it could be just a hybrid or just an electric car. Lads, click that like button. Click it, click it, click it, click it. There's 100 of you watching right now, which is absolutely the biggest week yet. That's simultaneous viewers, by the way. That's not how many people watched the whole stream. Usually it's 1,500 to 2,000 people total watch the entire stream. So right now it's 100 people. So everybody click that like button as quick as you can. Column, get the Hyundai if you want to have it fall apart in 5 years. It's a 5-year warranty. I don't know. It's a long warranty. What's your view on the new vlog type style motor endurance? For example, Shmee 150 seems to last. Me. I'm going to buy a car. I bought a car. Me. Look, you can't review a car. I saw Marcus Brownlee, that dude, you know, the electronics guy. He was reviewing a Tesla Model 3. Reviewing. Seriously? He bought one. He bought a Model 3, he ordered the bloody thing. He bought a Model S. And you can't have a guy who buys a car review the car. You can't. You just can't. If you buy the car because you love it, great. That excludes that car from future reviews because you are biased, completely biased towards that car and towards the company. So the same applies to that Shmee 150. I'm sure his videos are very good. I'm not debating how good or quality or what way it is. They're really deadly and I love that. But there's a PR marketing team behind that sort of stuff. Car companies provide that cars to influencers because they know they can influence people to buy cars, not because they're ever going to get a review of it. A proper review is someone with an educated arse who sits into the driver's seat of the car and goes, yeah, this is good, that's good, this is not good, this is no good, it's too expensive, it's this, that. That's a review. That's someone who's looking around a car trying to give an opinion about a car. If I could go out and just do donuts in cars all day long and not ever give a single opinion, and it's not going to work. So there's great room for them on YouTube. I welcome them to YouTube, but if anyone wants to get in touch with me and talk to me about how to review a car, maybe Shmee should. I actually had a woman from BMW mention Shmee 150 as videos I should try and do. And you're looking at them going, why? He's not reviewing the car. Anyway, getting loads of advice there, Colin Foley, about what car you should buy from the boys. Some split opinion though, from what I can see. Some people say 3008, some people say Tucson. Hello, exclamation mark, atomic autopsy, whatever it is. What's your thoughts on a Mazda CX-3 all-wheel drive and why you didn't review it? What? I thought I did review. There's so many cars. I have 500 videos out. I couldn't tell you whether I reviewed the car or not. CX-3 is a nice car. All-wheel drive is a bit on the thirsty side. Generally, they are on the thirsty side, although Volkswagen claim they're not anymore. But I heard a guy from Volkswagen the other day claim to me that there was only 1% difference in fuel economy between all-wheel drive and two-wheel drive. But CX-3 is a lovely car, kind of sporty, kind of an edgy, sporty feel. It's definitely worth it. I'd put it on the shopping list, but look, the infotainment system, that should be updated, and updated very soon. What's your thoughts on a new BMW 5 Series? Boring, pretty much, Evan. It's lovely. The 530e is a very nice car. If you spend a bit of money with BMW and buy that kind of middle range one, they're okay. They're nice. They're very smooth. But generally speaking, nearly anonymous in car parks. There's just so many of them around now. You know, there's just so many sales reps bought into them. And I'm talking about not even middle management, kind of beginners, guys getting into the sales rep life are getting 5 Series. And it seems kind of an odd way to be for a luxury car brand. But if you pay for a little bit extra, like 530, or you pay kind of middle range on a BMW, you'll get a very handsome, beautiful looking car. It just won't be very unique. Hey Bob, how's things? What are you thinking new Hyundai Tucson to buy? My God, Tucson is everywhere. Everyone's asking about Tucson. It's a nice car. It's actually a video on my channel. It's really good. It's probably one of my favorite Hyundais, apart from the Ioniq, which is one of their nicest cars. Tucson is very pretty. Look at the spec though. Look very carefully at the spec, because the entry-level Tucson is definitely not as good looking as the kind of middle to top spec one. They're much, much nicer. My God, it is so busy. There is literally boom up the screen every couple of seconds. So hit that like button if you wouldn't mind, please. I'll keep going till I answer all the questions. Don't worry. On the stream. So thank you very much for hitting us here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Come on, hit the like button. One more like till we get over 100 likes. Go for it. You can also, down below, there's links for PayPal, Patreon, all the usual things, Bitcoin. You can do Super Chat, is always good as well. Tip jar is basically what it is. You know, €2 here, €5 there, whatever it is. It tries to make this 2-hour stream at least some sort of use. But Hyundai Tucson answer is very good. Gmod says, thanks very enough. Looking for a big engined car? Plenty of them about. Are you looking for new or old? Or what country are you in, Spooner? Tony, yes. Hi, Bob. What do you think of the new Mercedes A-Class hatchback A180? Don't go near Mercedes A-Class. There is much better cars in that segment that are a lot cheaper to buy in the first place. The A-Class has never done it for me. Never. It's never really given me that stuff. It's okay, but it's not okay to contain that Mercedes badge at that price and then consider yourself a better brand or a better luxury brand than a Audi A3. Audi A3 is a far superior car. Audi A1 is a superior car. Volkswagen Golf is a superior car. They're all cheaper as well. They're all, well, Audi probably won't be that cheaper, but they're cheaper cars. So I like the look of the A-Class. I just wouldn't buy one. Ivan Boggs. Opinion on Ford's PR disaster with the Focus RS head gasket recall cancelled because they'd run out of head gaskets. What happened to Ford R&D when they were left developing the RS? Problem is Ford has run aground to some degree. They would get caught with their pants down on electric cars, on hybrid cars. They brought out an EcoBoost engine and spent billions developing the EcoBoost 1-litre engine, and then nobody wanted it. So they ended up putting it into various cars. Too expensive. Turbo was too fast. So they brought out a standard 3-cylinder 1-litre engine, and that hasn't really taken up either. And it's very hard when they're bringing out all sorts of stuff out there. So it's really hard for Ford to kind of catch up. And they do global engined cars and global cars as well. My back. I have a slip disc today, so take pity on me. But I'll catch up on you on that. But Ford, yeah, Ford needs a good slap in the head, and they need a better MD over the whole lot of it as well. He seems to have a problem with getting things done on a global scale. Mazda CX-7 or Volvo XC70 G5. Again, the matrix has gone mad in my head, Spooner. Volvo C70 G5, buy that one, because the Mazda CX-7 will be like a unicorn car very soon. Won't be long, they'll get rid of that CX-7. 100 people, quick, everyone watching, each ask 2 questions in the next 2 minutes and stuff them completely. Thanks very much, you're very kind. Yes, that's okay. You can ask all the questions you want. What's your thought on the new EcoSport? Is that the thing that's smaller than the Ford EcoSport? Yeah, that's a car that was made for Mexico or South America or something. It's a weird looking car actually. It looks big from a distance. It's like that Father Ted thing, small and far away. It looks big from a distance, then you walk up beside it, it's really, really small. I wouldn't go near it. There's plenty of other Fords out there that wouldn't be that size of a car. or buy the Volkswagen T-Roc or something that size. Hi from Scotland. Ever been in any serious accidents? Nothing serious. In other words, I've never been hospitalised from a car accident, but I have been in plenty of car accidents. Actually, the other day in Finland. Sorry, Skoda. I did hop it off a snowbank. Nothing really broken, but it was an adventure all the same. A Dodge Viper SRT10 ACRX. That's a pretty big engine. EcoSport is an awful car, says the Petrolhead 94, and he wouldn't be far wrong. Opinion on a Model 3 from early reviews. Look, if they can bring out a 40 to 50 grand Tesla Model 3, the rest of the car industry is in a bit of trouble. But the problem is their entry-level cars don't tend to be the ones that you see the reviews on, right? So look at the Model S range. The basic entry one, I think, is an S80 or is it 80 or 85 or P85, or they use these numbers on the back of them. And that's the short range one, right? That's not the one everyone's going on about. I only have to charge my Tesla twice a month. That's a lot of crap, right? That's the top range one. That one's over 100 grand for that Model S, for the top spec one. The same will happen in Model 3. They'll put various size batteries in it. So that the entry-level 40 grand one is probably going to have the same range as the Nissan Leaf. So, you know, I really got to consider that sort of thing, because Nissan Leaf isn't going to be 40 grand. We're still going along. Hang on. We're still catching up here. Do you think the BMW 330e would be worth it if you can't plug into a charge and you're in an apartment, or would be a waste? No, there's no waste. Hybrid cars are great. Plug-in electric hybrid cars are really good, but only if your distance can contain it. So when I charge, I have the PHEV Kia Niro outside the door now. And when I plug that in and do the 50 kilometers, if I stick around the town, it's fine, perfect. It's only when you get any sort of distance in that you're always running for a charge station. As a word, if anyone watching from YouTube, could you stop the words scrolling up the screen so I don't have to scroll to find out where I was? Just let it sit where it is right now. I'll catch up as I go along. Absolute Abdullah, I can't pronounce your name, is just quoting Dodge Viper numbers at us, which is good. Cool. It's not free to go electric. It's just that the costs are shuffled back into electric network and the battery system, etc. In my opinion, if you want greener, then you should push hydrogen globally. Hydrogen is nowhere to get it. You can't get it. See, it's great to have hydrogen. It's great to have dreams of hydrogen. I understand where you're coming from. I'd love to see hydrogen coming in as well. But there are no hydrogen fuel stations in Ireland. None. And so you can convert, you can make your own hydrogen. There's plenty of YouTube videos on that as well, how to make your own hydrogen. You literally just put a plastic bag up and collect the drips. So it's the gas off it. You're trying to collect that gas that comes out the thing. Anyway, it's quite easy, but it's very low yield. It's very hard to make hydrogen. It's even harder to store hydrogen long term. So there's lots of complications involved in that, whereas electric network is already there. What do you think of the new small SUVs? Which one do you like best? The Skoda Karoq, whichever way you want to pronounce it, is my favourite of that group at the moment. Tiguan is lovely as well. If you're going smaller, the T-Roc is actually quite nice. It's lovely out to drive. I'll have it in a couple of weeks. Driving that, loads of Volkswagens up coming soon. Opinion on a Ferrari 330 Spider, would you buy? I wouldn't buy a Ferrari. Nope, I just wouldn't buy one. Full stop. They're just not worth it. They're not worth it. The amount of money that people spend on those kind of cars. I'd probably buy some of the older classic stuff, but I wouldn't buy anything that comes out of Ferrari at the moment. Lamborghinis are more fun to look at anyway, and there's loads of bespoke units out there that aren't Lamborghini or Ferrari that you can have loads of fun in. I don't think those cars are anyway fun at all to drive on a road, unless the road is closed. They're only fun when it comes to a kind of a track, or you're showing off at 5 miles an hour, which is great, but you can do that in pretty much anything. Buy an Audi RS3, you'll have tons more fun with it. Hello, says someone with a Chinese name. Bob, how's the running going? Any race going up? I'm doing the whole Kia race series. If you Google Kia race series, you'll see it starts here in Portlaoise with the streets of Portlaoise run a 5k. So I'm doing that whole series, but it depends very much on my slip disc, which is slipped again. So I'm injured right now. If I stood up now, I would be able to stand up absolutely straight. I'd look like a C. I'd go into a C shape as my spine doesn't work properly. So, but I'll get back into it again. I'll certainly get this fixed, and I'll work on my core strength again to try and get the thing sorted out. But it'll all happen in the very soon. The whole race series coming up though is the Kia race series. and I'm going to do another couple of half marathons. And I might, if I think I'm up for that, see what I feel after the next half marathon, I might try for a marathon this year or an ultra race. And I think I'm doing a Ring of Kerry on a bicycle, which is 160 kilometers, and I haven't trained a single day for it. We'll see. Colin F, how are you? If the car fairy called your door and offered you a pick of cars, which one would be yours for a year? Audi RS3. For a year. Problem with the RS3 is you need a bank balance to cope with the petrol bills, because there will be some. So something electric would be more sensible to have. Skoda, what do you call a Skoda? The little Skoda. Skoda Citigo. The Skoda Citigo, 1 litre, 3-cylinder, would be the most sensible car for me now at the moment, because we do these long runs and there isn't an electric one of it yet. So that would be kind of where I'd be thinking, something like that, but RS3. Lee Moore, well, Bob, we know electric cars are cheaper to run, but it's a false economy when the price of a 3-year-old electric car loses 67% of its value. And what can a car compare to do to manage this? Car companies can do nothing. The price at the market value is the market value, although they can do it through finance, so they can guarantee the future minimum value of a car. Generally speaking, electric car owners tend not to change the car again. So they buy an electric car, they stick in it for 5 to 6 or 7 years, and they don't tend to change it very often. So that's why they tend to lose price. If you can find a Nissan Leaf Generation 2 maybe, or you can find the first generation of the Volkswagen Golf E and it's lost 60% of its value, I'd buy it, because they're going to go back up eventually. Without a doubt, Generation 1 electric cars are going to be collector's items in the very near future, and people will really want them as well. What do you think of the new Discovery? There is a video on my channel of the new Discovery driving around. I think it's a very good car. It has some electrical niggles. I don't like the thing all pushed over to one side. I think it looks stupid. Something wrong with the design there. Did nobody stop and go, that looks controversial, you shouldn't do that? I mean, really controversial. Not controversial in a good way. Lovely car. Buy a Range Rover Vogue. It's a better car, but lovely car. But I still, it's nice to drive. Lots of electrical niggles. Seems electric cars have to throw away look to them like 3-year-old laptop or TV. I don't think so. I think they're pretty tough looking. I like those kind of things. The electric cars, there's very little of them out there that I don't like at the moment. Hi Bob, Craig Breen just secured second in Rally Sweden. My God, that guy is some driver. I've met Craig many times. If you're anywhere near him, or you can send him a text message, tell him congratulations from me. He's a really good guy. I'll text him after the show. Craig is really open for everything and has always looked for support from Ireland. Gets very little of it support-wise from Ireland. He should be #1 worldwide. He was in a tragic accident once upon a time. His co-pilot was killed in a rally Spain, I think, somewhere in Spain. They don't finish the crash barriers, and he hit the crash barrier and he was killed. The crash barrier came into the cabin with him and he was killed outright. But Craig has bounced back and has done such a spectacular job of keeping himself right up there and getting new drives the whole time, and has done well. Came second in Rally Sweden this year. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, send Craig Breen my love. He's always been, there's a video of him on my channel actually. I did an interview with him. I did an interview with him 3 times, I think. He's one of the nicest guys. He's always freezing. BMW 335D Touring or BMW 535D Touring, space not an issue. George Websdale, thank you very much. George Websdale has sent money by PayPal. You're very good. Thank you. Love reading out. Someone else did as well earlier, but I missed your name. It popped up on the screen and it goes away so quick. I'm sorry. I will thank you after the show. Back to the question, is 335G Touring or 535G Touring space not an issue? Buy the 535 Touring, space not an issue then, because 335 is much smaller. 535 Touring is gorgeous, really buttery smooth thing to drive. And I love that little split back window thing, which is quite nice. What are your thoughts on the new Avensis? I try not to think about it, Ricky. Never liked the Avensis. I used to own a Carina. Not weird, a 97 Carina, but I never really liked the Avensis. It's a funny car, the Avensis. I don't think it's really built for here. I just don't think so. I think it's one of the, probably the worst car Toyota make is the Avensis at the moment. Bye from Croatia. You're the best, Bob. Do you mean hello from Croatia or bye? Or was I in Croatia and you met me there? Thanks, David Allen. You're very good. Whoever gets answered question from Bob should click the like button. There you go, you see, click the like button. If I answer your question, I answer every bleeding question. And it's such a busy day today as well. You're all here and you're all welcome. But ask away, it doesn't cost that, and of course it doesn't. But click the subscribe button, click the like button. It's always worth doing those sort of things because this happens every Sunday and you'd be surprised how many people actually watch this on playback after it goes up. You can support this channel in umpteen ways. There is PayPal, there is Patreon if you want to do the Patreon thing. There's Bitcoin, cryptocurrency underneath there as well. There's Super Chat right here on YouTube. Any of those ways and anything you can give is always appreciated. It goes into the equipment and kit and things, and I need to update the laptop because the laptop crapped out of me the other day and Apple were worse than useless. Thanks, Apple, for nothing. The best customer service with the worst customer service mixed into one, all in one go, is Three. The Three network, which run our phones, my phone. I went to Finland and I had no 3G. I had signal, I could make a phone call, but I had absolutely no data whatsoever. And I tweeted them rather than phoned them. And what the hell was the name of it? Jules from Three worked for 24 hours to get my phone back working. It took 24 hours to get data back. Once I got it back, it was fine. But they were very, very good. But when you phone Three for support, they're useless. Just thought I'd say that. So are Vodafone, by the way. Vodafone, you're useless as well. Not a hope. Thoughts on the Fiat 500L? I tried to keep that out of my mind as much as I had. Fiat 500L is something that should have never been made as far as I think. It's a good car. It was a good effort at the time. There's just so much wrong with the thing. It's not very comfortable. It's not very supportive. The engine lineup is pretty good. The seating position feels like a bus. You're driving a bus. There's theatre seats, which means the back seats are slightly taller than the front seats, which makes it impossible for kids to climb up on the seats. There's an awful lot wrong with it. Fiat are very good at small cars. They should stick there. Hey B, Wayne. How you going, Wayne? What's the crack, Wayne? My 2011 Toyota Prius gets over 850 kilometers from a full tank in the city driving. See, Prius, brilliant cars. Prius have always been brilliant cars. You just have to drive them ever so slightly differently. Brian Crowley. I have a cold as well. I got that in Finland. I'm going from -10 to +50 whenever you walked inside the door. You just roast, you're freezing and you're sweating. Anyway, Brian Crowley says, hey Bob, your RS3 review was fantastic. Thanks very much. The dawn raid on those mountain roads really showed off the RS3. Is there a big difference in RS3 and S3? Yes, there is. Everything that matters is different between the two of them. S3 is two-wheel drive. It has a Haldex clutch inside it. And so when it loses grip on the front, it shunts powered on the back, so you get a four-wheel drive feeling or a quattro feeling like Audi do. But the RS3 has a full quattro system, which means that 60% of the power to the back, 40% to the front, until you're really being dynamic with it, and then it'll shunt that power everywhere that gets a grip. It hangs on like nothing else. So RS3 all the way for me over S3. But if you can't afford an RS3, it's a different story entirely. And I can't. That is for sure. Sorry, I'm still snotting here. Entry level has around 250 miles and long range is 310 miles. Don't know what that's in relation to, James Ledden, but thanks for the information. Tesla model is a 75D is the small one. Hi Bob, by the way, this is Dave Thompson. Yes, you're right. That's 75D, so that's the one with the really short range. That's the one that they always put up as the price of the Tesla Model S, from 79 or 80 grand or something. But 80 grand for a bleeding car that can only do a small range? No thanks. As someone who does 30,000 kilometers a year, the only option or diesel, that's the only option at the moment, yes. That will change, but right now the only option for someone who's over the 20 to 25 to 30,000 kilometers a year is diesel. Stay away from everything else. Although petrol is I've less fear of petrol this year now. A few petrol cars I've had this year and the range has been very, very good. And they're getting very clever with the petrol stuff. Patrick Flaherty. How Irish a name is that, Patrick Flaherty? Seriously. Seat Arona versus Kia Stonic to buy 2018 models. Seat Arona, Kia Stonic. I would like the Arona more than the Stonic, but only by not that much. The Stonic is a really nice car. Road noise is a little bit of an issue with it, I think. The Arona is quieter to drive, better engine selection in general. You do get more fairly standard kit in the Kia ever so slightly, but not by a long way. I would suggest you drive them back to back. If you can go to a Seat dealership and get a loan of one for an hour, and then get a loan of a Kia one for an hour, and give the two of them back to back go, there'd be a hair's breadth between the two, and it'll come down to whether you like the look of them or not. My brain would go Kia Stonic, 7-year warranty, 100,000 kilometers. The Seat Arona, I think, has only got 3-year warranty, or even maybe a 2-year warranty, and it's probably limited as well. So, but the Seat has it on looks. Answering G Monster here, I keep getting the Fiat 500L for rentals when I'm in Europe, and I like it. Comfy, practical, pleasant to drive, fun to trash the crap out of, and pretend you're going fast. There you go, different take on the Fiat 500L. All the new review Model 3s are all long range one at the moment, around 50 grand. You see, there you go, that's what they do, they cheat the system. And Tesla pick people who are nice people to the Tesla brand to get them to review their car. That's why they don't really do press cars, they don't really talk about names. I remember asking the PR person from Tesla, I think her name is Laura, how many Teslas will they predict they're going to sell over the next 12 months? And she goes, Tesla doesn't do numbers. So, like, where do you go with that? How do you ask that question then? That's not normal. That's not commercially sensitive information. I ask that of every car company. How many of these you hop in a shift? 20, 50, 100, whatever it is. It's just normal stuff. Smithy! Hey, Bob, let me know the next time you're in Bray. I made a big improvements to the CLK. I'll be out in Bray probably next weekend at some point for the Cars and Coffee, yeah. I don't know if I'm going next weekend. I'm going soon anyway for Cars and Coffee because I have suggestions for guys out there, but we'll see. Hopefully over the next couple of weeks. I will post on Instagram, if you want to follow me on Instagram, wherever I'm going. You will see it first on Instagram, probably first, and then on YouTube. Although YouTube is trying to do a live clicky thing like the way Instagram works. Don't know how that works. Patreon tried to do that as well the other day. Very complicated Patreon. Stephen Carney, Bob, if you're looking to buy a second-hand car, what is your thought process? Do you have a checklist? For a second-hand car, first, the number one thing is buy the car you need. Loads of people, when they're buying a second-hand car, they go out and they buy the car they want and end up with a car that's useless to them because it's not able to do the mileage, it's not able to carry all the kids, it can't carry all the stuff. Second thing is, when you've decided what the car is, bring all of the stuff from the car that you're sitting in. So all the crap that you carry around the boot of your car, in the back seat, the child seats, bring the kids, bring the wife, bring the family, bring the boyfriend, bring the girlfriend, whatever it is you're bringing, bring them all. Because you want to see what it's like when that used car or the second-hand car you're about to buy is full of all the crap that you've got in your current car. Definitely bring child seats, bring a pram, bring that sort of stuff with you. And thirdly then, you're looking for service history. It makes no difference about the price, the current condition, nothing else. You want to see the service history of the car. Has it gone through the mill? Has it been serviced in the main dealership? Has it been serviced in the back room? Did it get a service at all? Is there any stamps in the book? Are the stamps verifiable? Do a history check on the car. Use someone like MotorCheck, or, you know, there's loads of those history check guys out there. I'm sure you can find any one of them will give you the same history check. That's really all your thought process. And then be happy. Be happy with the purchase you bought. Buy with confidence. Take it away. Don't be afraid to stand there analysing the car for 2 hours. You know, it's a big decision. Lots of dealers will go, he's come back again. He's come back. He's only tire kicking. Take your business somewhere else. You don't want me tire kicking in your premises? Well, that's your own fault. So don't panic about it, but when you're buying a second-hand car, make sure you've done your checks. Ricky, if you don't mind me asking, what were you disliked for not liking the Avenzas? It's just boring. It's not a car that ever really came out here. Very reliable, I'm sure, but just it's kind of boring. And the back seat isn't really good, and the stuff inside the car, the dashboard, and the way it's put together, just never really did it for me in any generation. So. What's your opinion on the VW Tiguan 240 bi-turbo? I love anything that's called bi-turbo. We had a Audi A6 here. There's a video of it on the channel for bi-turbo, and it's fabulous. Bi-turbo is a gorgeous thing. Anyone doesn't really understand. So turbo is one thing that spins and compresses the gas faster in the engine, recycles it back, and gives you more power. But it has a lag, so it only comes on when the rev counter reaches a certain point, usually about 1500 to 1800 RPM. Then the turbo cuts in, and then you get that surge of power from the turbo engine. A bi-turbo has two turbos that work at the same time. So a bi-turbo, or it can a twin turbo, operates ever so slightly differently, but kind of similar. So a bi-turbo has a little turbo and a big turbo, and the two turbos are running, so you don't get lag in the middle. You get this kind of surge of power across the whole band, and that's called a bi-turbo. A twin turbo works very similar, kind of along the same lines. And then there's another kind of turbo as well, which has a twin. There's another name for it, but one turbo that's operating at low RPM and one that works at higher RPM is kind of like a twin turbo system. So there's a lot, very complicated is the problem with them. When they go wrong, they go really wrong. What does this mean? I don't know. No idea. Hey Bob, just talk further about Craig. It was in Sicily, in Targa Florio. It was such a tragic accident. Gareth Roberts, that's right, the Welsh guy, was his co-driver. No doubt Craig endured so much. At that time, I said, you blame yourself. You know, you always blame yourself for all of that when you're the driver. It's very hard to get over. A very hard thing. I saw the crash is actually on YouTube. It's taken from a helicopter, but he goes through this corner and the whole thing just comes crashing to a halt straight into this barrier. The barrier just comes straight through the windscreen. Hi Bob, crossover or saloon, which car would you get if you were single? Saloon, probably. By the way, candidates are cheap ones, no Mercs, Audis, BMW. I'd still go with saloon. I like saloons, but now, in fairness, if I was looking at something as a single person, I'd try and buy estates. I always do. I always try and push people towards it because it's a lifestyle car. Like if you look at the Skoda Octavia Estate, it's a beautiful looking car compared to, and I drove an ex-Formula 1 driver the other day in a Skoda VRS Octavia Estate on ice. It was amazing. I'll have a video of that, relax. I did interview the guy, it's on the way. Crossovers are lovely, but they're everywhere, you know, they're bloody everywhere. Top of the afternoon to you, sir, says Ronaldo. Thanks very much. Ah, bugger, forgot it was Sunday. I'm rather late. That's all right, Andy, plenty of time. We're only 66 minutes in. Huge amount of people here today. A huge amount of questions. Keep them coming. It's all good. Don't forget, subscribe when you hit here first. At least click the like button if you just got here. But subscribe if you want to see this more often. And if you click the little bell, there's a little tiny bell beside the subscribe button. You click that little thing. What happens is when I go live, you get a notification on your device. That's it. I don't send you a notification. YouTube does. But you can support this channel as well. Links down below for Patreon, PayPal, cryptocurrency. And you can use Super Chat here as well if you want to do that. It's all free, obviously. I'm also looking for a sponsor for this to be a podcast. So you can get on the top and tail part of that as a business if you want. Sponsorship options are available on all of my videos. As you notice, JG Engineering is currently sponsoring the videos. That's going to change over to my DIY in the very near future. And you get 10% off your first order with JG Engineering if you use the code NEXTGEAR10. And it's true. So there you are. Look, I'm saving you money as well. I mean, what more like do you want? I'm not only giving you free videos, but I save your money. But click the like button is all I'm asking you to do. Like, just do it. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's a good place to get what car I'm in this week or behind the scenes. Or I spent 3 days there in Finland and did stories every single day. Hundreds of people watch those stories. Far more than I have subscribers. I have a little over 1,000 people follow me on Instagram. But if you want to do that, go over to Instagram and click follow on Bob Flavin. Thinking of something nice for the weekend. Oh, I like that. And can't decide between Clio RS 2-litre last generation 2012 or Fiesta ST last generation 1.6 probably 2014. Which would you buy not considering fuel consumption? I would buy the Fiesta 100% of the time. Clio is very good, but the Megane RS is a far better drive from Renault than the Clio RS. And the Fiesta ST is an incredible looking car and handles like a dog that you have by the scruff of the neck and just goes. It's a great car to drive, really aggressive driving with it. Would make a great race car. And the 1.6 will be a gentle car on fuel when you get to the motorway. So it's pretty good. Forgot him as Sunday, says Ronaldo. My God, what's wrong with you? Do you not know we're all back to work tomorrow? I work every day though. So it's on the 4th of March. What's on the 4th of March? Don't know what that's in reference to. Panda Gamer says he's playing GTA 5. That's good for you. Well done. Keep an eye on this. Also, what are your thoughts on the new Seat Leon? Seat Leon. My car. It's in for an NCT. My old car is in for NCT tomorrow. Should pass. I checked it out this morning. It seems okay. I can't see why it would fail at this stage unless it's something I can't check for, like headlamp leveling or some sort of codology like that. But a new Saint Leon, I don't know. I'd have to see. I have to drive it before I think about. Before I go with a new car, I have to see what it's like on the road. Hi from Italy. Have you ever been here? Loads of times. Been all over Italy. I've been in Sicily. I've been in Florence. I've been in Rome. Been in Northern Italy. I've been in Lake Garda. Been in Venice. Been somewhere else. I've been around the corner in Monaco a couple of times as well. Yeah, loads of time there. Have you always been a car journal? Inquiring minds want to pry. No, I've not always been a car journal. I have never been the same thing twice in my whole life, and I'm still not sure what I want to do with the rest of it. So if you're at the point of your life where you're deciding what you're going to do, and you're going to college, and you're going to this, you go, oh, blah, 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 just start doing something, right? Analysis paralysis is a great thing to remember. So you start analyzing and it never actually gets started. You just get bogged down in analysis of something and bogged down in planning to do something instead of actually taking action. But I spent my whole life usually somewhat related to the car industry in some parts of it, although I've been in the army, I've been a security guard, I've been a bouncer, I've been a barman, I've been... You name it, pretty much. I've been there. I've been a purchase manager for the bathroom industry. I was a purchase manager and sales dude for the car industry. I worked in sales in the car industry. I worked in servicing. I've worked in parts. I was the parts manager and for Newbridge Auto Parts. Loads of different kinds of careers. The car journal thing was something that was always in the background. Always had an opinion on cars. People used to always approach me and what I thought about cars. I watched Top Gear. I watched Fifth Gear. I read all the magazines. I did all the stuff like that. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, I was made redundant. Maybe 8 years ago, made redundant from a good job, a purchase manager job that I had. And I just started writing about cars. And then I started with second-hand cars. And then I suddenly got new cars. And now I'm the biggest car YouTuber in Ireland. So it kind of, you know, it can build. If you're good, if I like to be the cream on top. So I'm not looking to be first with everything. I'm not looking to do the most amount of reviews or the biggest, widest variety of videos. I'm not looking to do that. I'm just looking to be the best of those videos. I want to be at least in people's consideration, which is why I only ever ask people to subscribe. Is really pretty much it. John Wynn, hi Bob. Had finance man do the diesel maths with current prices change is over 34,700 last week. Say that again. Had a finance man do the diesel maths with current prices change over 37,000. Okay. All right. That sounds interesting. All right, yeah. Stephen, E60 535 diesel had twin turbo setup. One small turbo. Turbo works at low RPM and then give a big turbo that works at higher RPM. Eliminates turbo lag. Nearly eliminated turbo lag. Not quite gone completely. Not an eliminates turbo lag like just not having a turbo like the petrol cars work. Don't really have time to watch but still come around just to leave a like. Thanks Nikki B. You're very good. Are the new VW Polo TSI engines better now? Yes. TSI, TFSI, TSI, those kind of engines, turbo stratified injection is what it stands for. Yes, they are all very good. Cars and Coffee is on 4th of March in Bray, this day 2 weeks if anyone wants to join us there. So 2 weeks now on the 4th of March there will be a Cars and Coffee in Bray. You might put there might be a link, we'll put a link or something up somewhere for you to come along to that. So we might go to that myself. Thanks Bob for the Fiesta, love your reviews, no problem. Alan. George Wednesdale, hi Bob, VW Passat it is, Passat or CC 2013 Passat CC was the long elegant one. Yeah, that's a nice car. Compromised back seat, it is only a 4-seat Passat, or sorry, the CC. The Passat is a 5-seat, you can get 5 people in it. The boot lip is a little bit odd and the shape of the boot is a little bit odd as well, but forgiving all that for a minute, the Passat CC, or CC as it's called, was one of the best cars they've ever made, looking wise. It's gorgeous. Is this still live? Aren't you watching it? Yes, it's live. Johnny B. Good. Hey Bob, I ain't seen you in ages, Johnny. Where you been? James Ledden, I think there is some Tesla event in Cork soon. That's why the guy was referencing. Yeah, and there's Tesla event in Dublin very soon, a couple of weeks' time. So Tesla's doing an invasion on Ireland again. Is the Mark 1 with 500,000 miles still going? Mark 1. Yeah, it is, yeah. Skoda 1. Are you talking about Skoda 1? I think there's Skoda 1. Yeah. And there's another one that we found with 1 million miles on it. So we'll see. There will be another video on that as well. And I might be doing something really special later on in the year with Skoda as well. Another wild event. So yeah, that could be good. My dad is given an iX35 as a company car. It's fun and a pleasure to drive. One thing that annoys him is those parking sensors. Would you agree? Yeah, parking sensors are something you have to get used to. And there's a point where you kind of go, they really bother me. They just bother me because they're always beeping at me. Something, or people in traffic, sometimes they're on constantly. There is settings you can change to turn these things off as well. But I would certainly, I wouldn't really be annoyed with parking sensors. They're there to do a job and to save your car from being scratched to pieces. Although we turned ours off in Finland because it kept seeing the snow when we're drifting. We're literally drifting at like 8 or 9 miles an hour, and it kept going beep, 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 beep with the back. It was funny. Would you pick the 5 or 6 speed gearbox with the new Polo? I would pick the 6 speed gearbox all day, and it's not because there's a better gearbox, because it gives you more choices of gears. It changes the gear ratio and allows you to cruise better on motorways in 6 speed, or even on like an M50 100 km/h dual carriageway point. The 5-speed box is very specific. It is lighter, but it's very specific for kind of shunting through 5 gears as you're driving along through city traffic only. So if you do mixed driving, the 6-speed box is the way to go. Tempted by a late 2015 Sandero my God, Sandero stepper. You're not allowed on this channel anymore. Low mileage top spec as a prospective general car replacement for my 17-year-old Mark 1 Octavia TDI with low miles, but age starting to take toll. Mad? Yes. Yes, you're mad. Yes. Look, it'll be a nice move. You're going from a 17-year-old car to a 3-year-old car, right? So it's going to be a nice move. You will feel the difference straight away because it's a new car. And anyone who has a 10-plus-year-old car will be delighted to be moving into a Sandero or a Dacia. They're the cheapest form of transport you can buy right now today, but they aren't exciting. If you're moving from an exciting car, you're moving from a big car. They're not exciting. They're not what you want them to be. I don't think it's going to be what you want it to be, especially because you're coming out of a Mark 1 Octavia. In your point, what's the best reliable car out there? The one with the longest warranty. That's the most important part, is the long warranty. There isn't a particularly reliable brand. They're all got the various ways of measuring reliability and customer satisfaction and right. But really, a car is reliable as how it's treated. My car, for instance, is 11 years old. It's a Seat Leon with an Audi engine. The air conditioning doesn't work, but that's it. That's the only thing that doesn't work. And that's only because there was no one here in Ireland to fix the bloody air conditioning, and then we just couldn't be bothered to fix the air conditioning. But everything else on a car works and has worked 100% since we bought it in 11 years. We've never had a problem. There's a reason why that hasn't happened, because I look after the car. Because I go out there and I check the oil and I check the air breathers and I check the spark plugs and I do all. And the last few services have all been me doing the service out there. It's just, if the car's looked after, it'll keep going. If the car's not looked after, it's going to break 100%. Mercedes would have a problem with reliability over the last few years. Land Rover, Range Rover, Jaguar, those kind of cars, they all have reliability issues that come from the factory side of things. Generally speaking, very few other car companies out there have any problems. Hi Bod, hi DS, happy Sunday. Sitting on the couch with my wife who's knitting, who wants to know if you like a new hat for your next early morning review. That sounds interesting. Yes, I'd love a new hat. There is an address in the description down there, so you can send me a new hat if you want to, which is always kind of cool. I will certainly wear it in a video if you want me to. Lee Moore, the CC also comes in a 5-seat. My 2013 CC for sale on Dundee is a 5-seat. Is it? Would you fit 5 people in that car? I always thought the headroom was very limited in the middle of the CC. What's your view on GPF, gasoline, particulate filters? All new TSI engines are fitted with them. Don't know until we get the longevity thing. They must have learned their lesson from the DPF, the diesel particulate filter, which was blocked up in short mileage stuff. It never worked. Hopefully, anything that lowers the emissions, I'm 100% behind. But anything that ends up costing the user money in 2 years, $1,000 or something, I'm never in favor of. So there has to be a good balance between the two. I'd like to see, we won't know for 2 years. We won't know 2-3 years from now. You'll see how many of these filters are being sold. What do you think of like a Shmee and vehicle virgins? I think they should just go away. No, they're fine. Look, they're fine, but they're not car reviewers. Don't trust a review from them. Don't look at them and go, yeah, well, this guy knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to buy a car because of him. I drive 200 cars a year, or maybe more, sometimes 300 cars a year. It just depends how many launches there are on. And in that time, you get a level of education. Your arse becomes very educated. Seating positions, the feeling, the textures, the drive, the turns, the suspension, it all plays a part in whether you think the car is good or bad. These other guys who buy cars, I just don't trust any of them about buying cars. Any rich kid can start doing this on their own anyway. Pardon me, I do have a bit of a cold and I have a slip disc in my back. But we're okay. I'm alive and things are looking well. You can support this channel. Usual links down below there. PayPal, Patreon, and all them sort of ways. Really good if you did. We're trying to create a podcast out of these sort of things, which costs a bloody fortune to pay. Years worth of podcast hosting. So that's going to have to happen. Loads to do over the next few months as well. Absolutely jock loads of things to do. And of course, it's great to have sponsors on board, but that money is, that's gone. It's spent already and done. Lots of filming going on at the moment. A new video will be out next week on my trip to Finland, of which I was editing this morning right here on my editing machine. Unfortunately, I can't do a sort of a split screen and show you another screen, but it is actually, I've actually got the editing software open here, and we're going through all the footage to see what's the best parts of the footage that are out there. So loads to do. Hi Bob, so busy, missed the live, I caught up now. Come on, Johnny, well done, that's great. I think that new Fiestas with LED rings is hideous. New Fiesta, I like the new Fiesta. The new Fiesta is quite nice. What is a Sandero? It is a Dacia. Dacia is a Romanian brand that have a model called a Sandero, which is quite a small little kind of 5-door hatchback. I think like the size of a Ford Fiesta. Hi Bob, my mate needs a new car. I think it's a car because he's built a Care, but lives down a poor track road and needs a car that's high off the road to do with access. Any ideas of something? A Dacia Duster is the best value option. Duster's going to be the best price-wise when you look at it. Not necessarily the best value, but it will be the cheapest one out of the lot. And you can actually buy a 4x4 version of it. And it will put up a lot of punishment. It gets a lot of punishment in its home country and it's sold quite well in Russia. But there are better cars out there that cost a little bit more money and you will get more stuff in them. I'm thinking like the Skoda Karoq or the Volkswagen T-Roc or one of those kind of cars. I know the Karoq 4x4 system is a Haldex underneath, so it's really good. It works perfectly nice, I can guarantee that much. So look around, but a Dacia Duster will be the most reasonably priced version of the car. I've slipped a disc in my back for those new people who just arrived here and I can't move around much. It hurts all the time. Reference 2015 Sandero, intended to use as a commuter. Still have my VRS, a bike as well. Ironically, top speed Sandero over 17-year-old Octavia sat-nav start stop AC. Yeah, I know Sandero's got everything in it. But if you just want an A to B car every day, then it's fine. The new Polo seems better than the Golf. I keep looking at that as well. I'm not sure how that works. Yeah, the Polo is nearly as big and great value, and seems to just, it's fine. It just seems to be fine. I can't find anything wrong with a Polo, put it that way. Ireland is awesome, says Alpha Lab. Thanks very much. Thanks. Ireland thanks you with our little green, white and gold, and I'll get a little leprechaun and I'll jump around the table and go sound Bob, new hat and cowl on its way to you. Keep good work. Knits might help the recovery too. Thanks very much. I'm looking forward to my little hat and scarf. Thank you, Mrs. DS. Barry, I was thinking about buying a Vauxhall Astra VRX in the north. What are your thoughts on the car? Is it worth buying the car in the north? Can't speak for the north much because you have to just check the price and make sure the spec as you're getting is better than the spec you're going to get here. VRS is a kind of a unicorn car, pretty hard to find down this part of the world, so you're probably not going to get one in Ireland anyway. Generally, if you talk to a local dealer, they will find what you're looking for. Just check the price from the dealer to the north. That's number one. VRS they're fast cars. They're good cars. Funny handling, you will eat front tires, absolutely eat front tires, but you will on any of those kind of fast cars, on those kind of ones. They all just eat themselves over time. But yeah, I've no problem recommending going up the north to buy a car. If it's cheaper and you're getting a better deal, then that's the problem with the currency and the problem with the way we do business down here. Bob, what car reviews coming up over the next couple of weeks? Oh, good God, there's such a backlog of them. The Finland trip will be up probably next week. I think there's 3 videos coming out on that one, at least 2 or 3 videos anyway, on the whole adventure up Finland, which was a massive trip. Brilliant. I was in the Arctic Circle messing around with Skodas had a great crack and drove with an ex-Formula 1 driver, DTM driver. But that was really great crack, and he taught me some tricks as well in driving. You can always learn from everybody. An older kind of guy, so fit and fast, just impressive. Also coming up will be, what am I picking up tomorrow now? I think I have a Skoda Rapid tomorrow. I have the Karoq next week as well. I'm going up to the north, I'm doing a road trip video with the Northern Ireland Tourist Board, and I'm going to Fast and Furious in Belfast. But I'm also doing this kind of a road trip thing, and that's in the XC40. That's in May, I think. Stack of things. So much stuff going on right now. What drone do you use for footage? I use a Mavic Pro. Mavic, just the first generation Mavic. It is the best thing ever. It's called Zippy, and it's like my friend. I literally do mean it's like my friend. I look after it like a child, because it's like having a full camera crew with you. Aaron Bell says, afternoon, good man, Aaron. Ireland is awesome. I love it, says someone else. It was really good. Yeah, Ireland is awesome. You're right. Absolutely. I will not disagree with that one. Patrick Coyle says, I have a 2001 Mark I Octavia since 2009. It's sitting with 230,000 2009 so that'd be kilometers on the clock. Cars are going like a dream, but age is starting to show. Rust on the sills, arches, worth keeping or get an upgrade. First off, I would keep it, right? But I'm a meanie. The second thing I would do is sand that rust patch down, right? Rust isn't always superficial. The problem is if rust is left on the metal, on the paint, if it starts there, it's not coming from the paint, it's coming from the metal underneath. And so the paint is blistering, and it's allowed water and air to get in behind the paint at the metal, which starts the rust off, and then the rust comes all the way through. If you attend to rust pretty early, rust is absolutely effortless to fix. You get the paint matched very easy. You get some P1000 paper, sandpaper is really simple. You get some wet and dry sandpaper, right? So go to local, you can get it in Halfords I think as well, but go to local manufacturers, ask for wet and dry sandpaper. You're looking to go from a grit of 800 to about 1200, somewhere between those two. You buy a few little bits of sandpaper and you just sand down that area till you get a beautiful, nice, smooth finish where you can't feel the difference between paintwork and metal. And then you get a spray can with match paint in it, and you paint over the top, and you put lacquer over that, and the paint is dealt with. It's an afternoon of a job, a good long afternoon. Make yourself plenty of tea or coffee or whatever, sit down and go through the whole thing and just do it step by step by step. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there to help you do it, but definitely if you deal with the rust now before it becomes a problem, it will not rot the way through to the metal. If it's gone through the metal, it changes it, it makes it a much bigger job. It does change the job, but you can still cut out the metal and put more metal in, and so on till you have it fixed. But I would hold on to the car that I have as long as it's humanly possible, but that's just me. That was for Patrick Coyle, by the way. Paul Glennon, thinking of buying a diesel, do over 22,000 kilometers, but it seems everybody's going hybrid, petrol, electric. Will lose my shirt if I buy a diesel in the next 5 years. Any thoughts? I don't think you're going to lose your shirt, but I think as long as the government don't do anything knee-jerky and start bringing any sort of weird tax system or anything in on it, I think you'd be fine. But 22,000 kilometers is actually very borderline whether you need a diesel or petrol. Consider, are they big, long jumps of 22,000 kilometers? So is it a very long drive every time? It's 100 kilometers a day or 200 kilometers a day? Then diesel is okay. If it's very short drives, which you're doing a lot of them, maybe hybrid is the way to do it. James Ledden, still running? Yes, I am. I've slipped a disc in my back and I have a cold at the moment, so I'm not running currently, but I am still running. Yes, certainly I did 10k the other day there before I went to Finland. Now I'm destroyed by Finland. Thanks, Finland. Hey Bob, Mustang GT or Camaro? Not sure if you own those in Ireland. Thanks for the show. I can only speak for the Mustang GT. I have driven Camaro, not the brand new one, but I have driven Camaro. We don't get them in Ireland, I don't think. Dodge don't really come here, but I'm sure you can order one. You can take it from me that a 5-litre V8 Mustang GT is an absolute cracker of a car, but it has failed most NCAP rated tests, so just bear that in mind. But it's a fabulous car. You will not regret it. If you're into that Americana big V8 engine, the 5-litre GT is a gorgeous thing. Hi Bob, company car needs to be new for 32,000 kilometers, needs to be family and motorway friendly. What's your pick? Anything from the Volkswagen segment, the Passat, the Superb, even the Octavia. You could go an Audi 32,000. Would you get an Audi A4 into that? Audi A4 is a bit tight in the back though for the family stuff, so maybe no, steer away from the Audi stuff. Insignia will certainly fit into that bill, although Insignia, oh, not too sure about that one. How about, and no, I was going to say Hyundai i40, but the back doors aren't very wide on that, so it's not a great family car, but it's actually not, it's a good car, but it's not a great family car. Hyundai Tucson, somewhere around there, that's for Damien Crawford. Even come back on the list, you find a list of what you're looking for and I'll tell you what not to buy off it. Simon, what drone? Another one about the drone. What drone? I use a Mavic, an original Mavic thing, and I fly it. Johnny B. Good. If you live in the north, buy a low mileage Astra VXR from UK and ship it over to you. Most probably spend less on a car. There you go. There's advice about buying a car up the north. Alan Gray. Okay, follow up. You've got me thinking of Megane RS now. So Megane RS or Fiesta ST, standard Megane is good enough, or Cup. Just buy a Megane RS. You'll be happy out for the rest of your life. Standard one. If you want to buy a Cup, brilliant. No, I don't know about that at all. You get better seats and lovely leather or lovely yellow bands and things in it. Megane RS is one of the best driver's car in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. It's an absolutely spectacular drive of a car for a front wheel drive. But there is better around than it now, but at the years you're talking about, Megane is going to be all the way. Hi Bob, good show. A friend with a 2015 Qashqai says her electronic parking brake doesn't always engage properly and she feels it could be dangerous. Dealer unhelpful. Have you heard of this issue? I haven't heard of it as an issue, although I have had situations where I've pulled up, pressed the button on the car and it rolls away. And because the electronic parking brake has no feedback to it. Sometimes you can hear the thing go on and hear in the background happen, and that's the feedback. But there's nothing like pulling a proper handbrake to actually get that feedback properly. But I haven't seen it as a recall, and I've had nobody else complain about it. It could be a unique thing to them. You might have to hold it down a bit longer. Maybe you're not pressing the button for long enough. I know when a seatbelt is off and you want to drive away, you have to hold the button down to make the handbrake go off. It won't go auto go off. But it's not an issue I've come across, no. Tell her to email me directly after the show here, bobflav@thenextgear.com, and I'll talk to Nissan Ireland and see what they say. I can certainly deal with it. Mark Atkinson says, hi Bob, is Ford planning a new Ford C-Max model? It would be due soon if the model cycle is maintained. I don't think they're maintaining the model cycle, Mark, as far as I'm aware. They probably will bring out another C-Max at some point, but I don't know if it's going to be this year. They are frantically working in the background trying to bring out electric and hybrid and trying to do something in that regard. They announced a gigantic investment in funding for electric cars. So I don't know about the C-Max. C-Max is one of my favourite cars they make. Great if you have hip problems or back problems. The car is almost perfectly level with you getting in and out of the car. So really, really good car, but I don't know if they're going to keep that model cycle going is the big problem at the moment. Gavin says Alan should check out the Leon Cooper too. I'm not too sure what that is. Could be something to do with the Megane RS. Simon Fiddler says, if you were set on buying a Tesla, would you put a deposit on a 3 or buy a pre-owned S? I'd buy the cheapest possible Tesla I could at the moment, which is going to be a pre-owned S. The 3, we don't know. We don't know what the 3 is. The Tesla's been so slow, and I'm hoping they're going to bring one to Dublin in a couple of weeks' time. We're going to test it there. If I get it tested, I'll certainly put my videos and my thoughts up about it. At the moment, Tesla's leading the way. In 12 months' time, the Volkswagen Group is going to walk out with a 600-kilometer range Volkswagen Golf, right? And it's just going to change the landscape. Instantly, the conversation is over about electric, about range anxiety, about charge stations, about all that. All just dies a death. And I guarantee it's going to be inside the next 12 to 18 months that Volkswagen are going to do that. I know, and I talked to the guys from Skoda the other day who very quietly have told me that in 2019, 2020, there's going to be an electric Superb, and there's another model coming as well. It's going to be all electric. It's all happening. If Skoda's getting it for 2019, you can bet Volkswagen are going to have it in 2019, 2020. They'll be bringing out full electric cars. So it's definitely on the way. I wouldn't necessarily just buy into Tesla right now, this minute. I think they're just going to run out of money, and it's going to be a big issue for them in the near future. But at the same time, they've got a good range of cars. Pardon me. This has definitely been the busiest day I've had on the Sunday service, without a shadow of a doubt. Just taking a drink of water there. There's still nearly 100 people watching this. Hopefully you've all clicked the like button. That just tells YouTube what's going on. But definitely click the subscribe button. This happens every Sunday. It is Ireland's biggest live stream on a Sunday by a country mile. At this stage, I'm beating radio stations and stuff for listenership, so it's pretty good. This is going to be converted to a podcast in the very near future, and all of the episodes that I've ever done on the Sunday service will go up as a podcast. There's just some technical things that need to sort out, and plus it costs a mint to do 2 hours of a podcast live streamed, and I'm trying to find the right crowd that can do it and put it up on iTunes, and all that sort of stuff has to be done as well. I'm just back from Finland, so there's an awful lot going on at the moment, so definitely subscribe. If you can support the channel in some way, you can do it by PayPal. There is a link in the comments below there that will take you straight to a PayPal page belonging to me. You can submit as little or as much as you want on PayPal. It's always brilliant when that happens. There's also a Patreon link. There's cryptocurrency if you're into that kind of cryptocurrency stuff, or you can use the super chat here on YouTube. Any of those methods are absolutely brilliant. There's no restriction on the amount of money. You can give €1 to whatever amount of money you want. And it all goes into equipment and case and travel and hotels and all the stuff that I have to usually pay out for. It costs a fortune. Adrian, hi Bob, love your channel. Have an A3 1.4 TFSI, reckon that the engine is fab, one of my favourite engines Audi's ever made. So smooth and loads of oomph for its size. Is the new 1.5 TFSI as good? It's kind of the same engine, it's been rebored. I think it's to do with the fuel economy and emissions. They reboard to give it the horsepower back again, which is fine. And it'll probably operate more or less the same. But the 1.4 TFSI has always been my favorite engine from Audi. I'd have to try a couple of different cars with the 1.5 in it. It was very successful for Nissan to do what they did, which is the DCI engine reboard from 1.5 to 1.6. So I can't imagine why it'd be a bit of a problem, especially if Audi is leading the way on which one has been rebored. They'd be very finicky about their engines, Audi, so I wouldn't have a problem recommending that. Yes, Ireland is awesome. I'm here for 18 years now and already waterproof like a real Irishman. Good man, it's the insulation of Guinness around the edge of the skin. You rub it on every day, pushing behind the ears and stuff. It's all about waterproofing. That's why I go to Finland and I'm fine, and everyone's going, it's freezing. And I go, nah, it's fine. This is nice. This is like a dry cold. What's wrong with you? That's funny. Admin says, the new Polo with 95 horsepower has still drum brakes. You upgrade to 115 horsepower to get disc brakes, which obviously is much more expensive. Is this a trick to lure customers into buying the high-spec version? By the way, are drum brakes any good? Okay, so let's discuss first of all what's the difference between drum and disc brakes, because some people won't know, right? So in a disc brake, you've got an actual disc, and on the outside you've got a caliper that closes two pads on the discs and stops it spinning. That's the plan. So when you put a handbrake on a car, about 30%, 20% of the braking of a car comes from the rear. The rest is all through the front. That's why front brake discs and pads tend to wear out first, and then the rear brake discs and pads wear out later. So a drum brake is different. You've got a drum, literally a drum shape, and inside the drum you've got two things called shoes. And they press outwards when you put the handbrake on. They press out and they stop the drum turning, which in turn stops the wheel turning. Again, about 20% of the braking effort comes from the rear of the car. So the difference between the two is the discs come with stand braking to a higher temperature and a higher degree and can offer more pressure when you put your foot on the brake. But as a rear brake, it only offers 30% of the power anyway, so still most of the power goes through the front, which are disc brakes. Drum brakes are cheaper to buy for the car company, but they're not cheaper for you to service, although you can probably pick up a drum brake service kit fairly reasonably. But you probably, in the lifetime of your car, 5 to 8 years, you'll probably never change the drum brakes at the back. They're about the same, but it does change the difference in price. I would rather, for safety perspective, if I'm buying a car for my wife and kids to drive around the place or for me to drive around the place, I would rather see disc brakes on the back because they do offer a better solution for braking under dramatic conditions. But for prices, I don't mind seeing drum brakes coming on fine. There's plenty of press cars I've had out there have had drum brakes on them to be okay. Reference road trip Fast and Furious, what are you be driving? As far as I know right now, I'm driving a Volvo XC40, but I'm not too sure whether that'll be the car that'll actually bring with me. I know a mate of mine is bringing an Audi RS3, so I might have to bring something tasty. What I might do is not bring a car company car at all. I might just ring up one of you lovely users out there and get something absolutely stupid to bring with me, like an Ariel Atom or something. But we'll see. I don't know. That's still kind of in planning, but it's definitely going ahead. I am definitely doing that trip, but I haven't decided on the detail of it yet. Bob, have you test driven the new 2018 Ford EcoSport Z-Tech? I have tested EcoSport. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was a very good Ford, and I didn't think it was a very good car. It's not. I don't think it was ever designed for here. I think it was more designed for South American market or the Turkish market or African market, sort of. That kind of. It fits a very specific demographic out there. I think they brought it out over here because things like the T-Roc are coming. If it doesn't improve, it had next to zero sales for EcoSport in Ireland. So the general public obviously agreed with it as much as possible. So I would stay away from it wherever you can. Maliki Murphy. Harold's, you must be busy. It's raining and only ice curling to watch. I know. Not about ice curling. I was in Finland like 2 days ago and everybody watches ice hockey and ice curling. And there's like, I actually met the Norwegian Olympic team passing through Helsinki airport. And I met another Olympic team, like, I don't remember what country they're from, but they were passing through Helsinki as well. The Norwegian Olympic team, I can guarantee you, are blonde and very pretty. Both men and women. So I'm not even being sexist. See that? Johnny, be good. Well, I've clicked now. Oops. You clicked what? What'd you click? What'd you click? Tell me. Click the like button. For God's sake, click the like button. We're at 100 minutes now already. This is Ireland's biggest live stream. Thank you very much for watching. But click the like button, click the subscribe button if you haven't been here before. Click the bell beside the subscribe button if you want to get a little notification on your device that this live Sunday service is happening. We do this every Sunday pretty much. There is a live version of this coming up very soon. We're going to create our own car show and I'm going to do a live version of this from that car show. That will happen probably next month. And this will be turned into a podcast. But if you want to support all that financially, down below is a list of links. You can click on the PayPal, the Patreon, the Bitcoin, the Super Chat, whatever you want to click yourself like. But all money is greatly appreciated and very, very necessary to keep this live stream going because it does cost a fortune. I even got a phone call from Vodafone the other day. Are you sharing files? And you go, no, I don't. Well, there's a huge upload happens on a Sunday. I just want to check with you. And they go, oh, it's a Sunday service. It's okay. And he says, typical vague development of new technology and motivation. Skoda invents and designs it and then has to wait for Audi and VW to use it the first and then seems to hand me down. Not all the time, but often. It can happen. It's always a commercial decision inside of the car companies that own car companies. Soon enough, you see now what's after happened with Opels. All of a sudden, Opels aren't Opels anymore. They're full of Peugeot parts. And, it's all about profit and loss, boys. It's all about that little tick that goes up along the wall. It's very hard to read that. Could you make an old podcast as a sub once you donated via Patreon? I'm not too sure what that means, but there is a podcast of this on the way, which will happen within the next week or so. I just landed back from Finland. I didn't get a chance to do it. So I'm probably going to do it next week or maybe the week after. And it will be a podcast, but it will still be sponsorable separately because I'm doing a top and tail for that podcast, each one. And so I'm going to create an intro and an outro, which is not in this live stream, and that will be on the podcast. So that it is sponsorable if you want to. I'm not looking for gigantic money, but I need to pay for the hosting of the podcast separately from YouTube, right? Because it's not hosted here on YouTube. Push for the 200 likes milestone can be done today. See, Andy's always up for the likes. Click the like button. Yeah, see, it's 155 likes. It's our busiest day so far. 95 of you has been sitting here streaming this since I absolutely started. Your average watch time is gigantic today. You all seem to be watching it all, which is very good. Must be nothing on the telly, is there? But it's great to have the energy going. I've tried to build a little community out of this over the last, however long I'm doing this, I don't know. And that community is still there. And most of the names that are popping up on the screen here I've seen before, have asked questions before, have been around before. Some new faces, some new names have appeared on the screen over the last few years. Which has been wonderful to see those new names come up along the way. I do still read every single comment that has ever happened on my YouTube channel. It's gotten better and better and better and nicer and more frequent. And some people have become friends in among the community that I created there as well, which is lovely. These individuals who comment on every video, but are actually not talking to me, they're talking to people around them that they look after. So it's really good to see that kind of community coming out of it. Hopefully that community will continue to grow as I bring that same sort of value to everybody and everything I do as much as I possibly can. It's all about community. So I'm on Instagram as well. It's where you're going to catch up with me every day. You will see something coming out on Instagram. So if you want to go over there and subscribe, it's great as well. Just click over to Instagram and go Bob Flavin. I am sitting right there. Thanks, Bob, for the cash guy answer. Another question. What would you say is the best car in the small crossover segment? I can't. At the moment, I can't. Just so many after hitting that small crossovers. I have a preference right now for the Skoda Karoq. I think it's really good, but I think it's shouting into a pit of other cars that are in that exact same segment. Tiguan is right in there as well. There's some really, really good cars on the way and coming out, and ones that are just had to be released. So, you know, I would definitely look at Karoq. I think is a really good car that they've got, and it's particularly 4x4 DSG, really good car. Bob, do you see any problems in the future with importing cars from the UK and Ireland? Everything's gone, Gavin. You may as well forget about it. If they actually go through with Brexit, that's end of car imports. Why do you think for one second, this is like conspiracy theory, right? But why do you think for 1 second that the whole country here isn't totally up in arms about importing cars from out there? Because car companies would rather they stopped importing cars from the UK and started importing them from Europe because it's cheaper. And if we had problems trying to import our own cars from the UK, then you can imagine then how much sales would have to happen here. It'd be like living in Cuba. You won't be able to get anything. So it's already over. It's already kind of ended. Once Brexit goes ahead, that is the end of imports and exports, unless there's a special deal done between the two companies or countries. Brexit is the worst thing that Britain has ever done by a long way. And it's going to have ramifications in Ireland that we can't even predict right now. It's going to be dreadful here. Dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. Looking for recommendations, says Jet Fuel 12. Jet Fuel 12. You pilot Jet Fuel? Yeah. Anyway, I'm replacing a 2009, no, you're not a pilot, obviously. 2009 BMW 318 this year. And other car brands, would you go for a similar quality and most importantly handling? So we've come from 2009, you're in a 318 diesel, which is rear wheel drive, but relatively low power. If you're looking in among the BMW brands, certainly the new 3 Series or the current model 3 Series pretty good, but I would buy the 320 diesel, not 318. It's not really an engine thing. There's a spec difference between the two. I would absolutely wholeheartedly look at the Audi A4. It is a very handsome car now, very, very nice. I wouldn't go near the C-Class. It's not the kind of car you're looking for. Your 318 is not the C-Class coupe, which I quite like, but I don't like the standard sort of C-Class saloon. Just isn't really at the game there at all. If are you upgrading or downgrading? You want to go on to 5 Series, you want to go to 6 Series, that sort of Audi A6 or something. It's a different story entirely, but really you're stuck with the kind of brand you're in right now unless you're willing to spend a lot of money to move up to the next ones. What's the best small SUV you've tested? The Peugeot 2008, Captur, Audi A1, Q1, etc. There isn't the best. They're all kind of the same, if I'm honest. You know, a T-Roc would be the one that I look at right now, which is a really, really honestly good car. Okay, so there's a slightly lower grade dashboard in it, but I still wouldn't have a problem recommending it. That's the one I probably have to pick out right now, is a T-Roc, just the way it's put together. It's a really clever, really straightforward car. XC40 electric is on its way next year, says, I can't pronounce your name, Chromos 13 or something. Absolutely positively correct. Volvo have put a giant amount of money towards making their fleet electric, and which is a Nordic country car. So you can imagine how this is going to work. It's very cold up there. You think batteries are going to survive? I was in Finland, in Romanavi the other day, or whatever that place is called, inside the Arctic Circle, and a Tesla overtook me on the other side of the road. So I don't think electric cars are going to be a problem. Seeing the Euro NCAP pole test last week for the Kona seems very weak compared to the new Polo. Unbelievable. I didn't see it now myself. If it's failing on certain things, then there's like failing an NCAP. You wake up with horses in your head. You know, if you're the guy that was supposed to get it through the NCAP, it's a very serious thing. It has a massive effect on sales for a car. If you're making decisions on where to spend a national investment plan on transport, what would you do? First, road link from Cork to Dun. If I was making road investments, I would connect Cork properly to that flyover. You have the Dunket flyover, which is great for Cork, right? But I would also connect Portlaoise to the N7 that goes right by Portlaoise, which is one of the busiest roads in the country. I'd connect that up to just outside of Tullamore, which connects Portlaoise and Tullamore, two big city centre, two big country centre towns. And it also connects a loop right around the outside of Dublin, being number one. Number two, I would invest in rail. I would fire basically everybody who works for Irish Rail in the management end of stuff. And I would hire people who actually know what they're doing when it comes to prices, because most of these guys have the absolute notion about prices for Irish Rail. It seems ridiculous the price they charge for things. Send my apologies now for missing next week. I'll be at work until late. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough, Andy. What's the story? You can watch it back, I'm sure. We just can't answer questions. Can't ask questions when you're not watching it live. But hit the subscribe button down there is the thing you need to do. Right beside that is a little bell. Click the bell thing and it'll pop up on your mobile. You get a little notification saying Bob Flavin has gone live. My cousin has had her A3 for 4 years, and after 23,500 miles is still on original tyres. Do you think they last longer than they used to? Tyre tech must be better than those years gone by. No, it just depends on the conditions. Tyres will degrade over time. The problem with older tyres is that you might still have loads of tread on the outside, but actually the weathering is taking place on the rubber and you're starting to get micro cracks in the rubber. So although your mileage might be low, you might find your tyres actually disintegrating underneath you. And when you need it and you hit the brakes, you get 4 burst tyres all of a sudden. Very possible. It should be taken off, rotated and checked, and make sure that your tyres are in one piece, particularly on the inside of the tyre. It's very easy to see the outside rim of a tyre, but you turn the whole wheel and have a look at all of the tread all the way around and look at the inside wheel of the tread. Make sure there's no micro cracks in there. If there's none, then you're fine, but if there's some there, you should change the tyres. Ever drive one of the big diesels, 330 diesel, 530 diesel, VW TDI, V10, Audi big diesels, Golf GTG, need one for heavy towing? I have driven all of those. All of those. I can certify the Audi V10 would be the best one in among that. It will haul ass. The problem, if you're towing, the problem is the rear wheel drives don't tow very well. They tend to sit down on the back and you start to lose steering on the front all of the time. So towing on a rear wheel drive can be a difficult thing to do. Golf GTG is very powerful car, good tow car as well. If you can get an Audi Q7 with the V10 diesel in it, you're going to just pull anything down. You pull walls down. Also Touareg has them as well, I think V10s. And possibly in the Amarok, but I'm not too sure about that one. Stephen Jones just sent some money there as well by PayPal. Thank you very much, Stephen Jones. Very kind. I just got a notification that I have gone live. Thanks, YouTube, for catching on after 111 minutes. Brian Cullen says, Bob, the Karoq seems almost as big as a Kodiaq. Surely it's not a small crossover like the Kia Stonic or Seat Arona, for example. No, it's bigger than those. It's bigger than the Seat Arona. It's bigger than the Stonic, but it's not as big as the Kodiaq. Not by a long way. Kodiaq is absolutely gigantic. I drove from the airport just outside the city we're staying in, the Rum Valley thing, all the way up to Lapland and then round in the back of a Kodiaq, and it was just like a limousine. They're so big. I would like to say I'm so sorry I voted to remain. You voted to remain. Oh, come on. Well done. That's all right. You're remaining. You're a remainer. That's all right. Now, everybody has their opinion and they're entitled to their vote. Brilliant. For the Irish economy, Brexit is going to be a disaster. For the English economy, Brexit will be whatever Brexit is. That's not our problem. Our problem is that Ireland is going to get mushed over here. We are England's biggest customer. So you buy almost everything you use from us. And we are England's biggest buyer. So we are your biggest customer. So we buy almost everything that we use in our shops here, including Tesco's and Lidl and Aldi and all that. All comes through the UK. If Brexit goes ahead, it is going to put a torpedo into the side of that relationship. It also puts a torpedo into the side of the relationship between us and Northern Ireland and Scotland and Wales and all these other countries, and free transit and transport. If we have our links between you and us, our links to be able to catch a ferry and just zip over there or fly over to London City Airport of 8 o'clock on a Friday morning, fly back in the afternoon, it's all going to be a problem. Visas come back, all sorts of stuff come back. Mark Rcock just sent some money as well. Australian dollars. My God, you're sending Australian dollars by PayPal. You're very good. Thank you very much. It's absolutely brilliant of you to do that. Anybody else who wants to, there are links in the comments below. You can send money by PayPal, Patreon, Bitcoin, whatever way you want to send it. There's umpteen ways. There's also Super Chat here on YouTube if you want to use that as well. Any way you want, it's all hugely appreciated. It all goes into the big kitty that keeps this rolling forward and keeps as much content as I can bringing it towards you guys. at all times. I'm sorry, there's just so many questions. I've never had a day where I was thinking about not answering all the questions, but today is that day. There's just so many questions. Stonic, not atomic. Hiya, buddy. I always understand. See, I can read through the lines. 6% of new cars bought in Norway are fully electric. They love it. They get an absolutely giant incentive to buy those electric cars. Don't make any mistake that they're making some sort of grand gesture over the world. They're almost driving free cars. Electricity is free. The installation of the box in their house is basically free. There is so many incentives for them to drive electric cars in Norway, and that's why they do it. Plus, Norway is one of the richest countries in the world. They have the most amount of disposable income per capita in the world. They can afford to make these kind of choices. But I guarantee you all of them have a petrol-powered skidoo out the back of their house as well. So they may be putting out, the public idea is that they're buying electric cars, but there is a background element to that as well. If we put the same incentives here in Ireland, we would be 100% electric overnight. I'm hoping to get an Octavia VRS Estate, but the Karoq looks nice to try. I'd go with my heart or my head. I would go with the Karoq if I was going to choose between those two things. VRS Estate is an absolutely gorgeous car. The Karoq will be worth more money in a few years' time because it's fairly new and it's going to be right out there. Mr. Millennium, you've sent that money to Bob. You've sent £5 to Bob. Well, it's all appreciated. Whatever way you sent it. I don't know what you sent it. Are Irish roads as potholed as ours in the UK? No, Adrian. Your roads in the UK are worse than Irish roads these days. It used to be the other way around. I recently drove up to Donegal. You will see a video on my channel there, myself and Sinead McCann testing Skoda Yetis in Donegal. And I drove up to Donegal and it took me across the border up by Derry, and it was in around the back of whatever the name of the other town is. And the roads were crap. Just thought they were really rubbish. And I was able to tell when I crossed the border again because the roads got better. And I was over in the UK last year on 2 tests over in the UK. And we drove in around Wales and another one was up around Manchester. And all the roads were fairly ropey. The big main roads are pretty good, but anything other than that just seems to fall apart. I don't know whether you're all spending money on the UK or not. With leasing now becoming more competitive, how will this affect the industry over the next couple of years regards dealerships and used market? Dealerships are on their knees, lads. I'm not saying in Ireland, but generally across the world, dealerships are struggling in a big way to supply cars. People don't want to interact with sales staff anymore, and yet in Ireland we have the highest proportion of sales staff for buying cars from. But there's a generation of people out there, if you look at things like Tinder or Grindr or whatever those dating apps you look at, people less and less want to interact with other people on all kinds of levels, even on a sexual level. They would rather arrange it all by the internet and it just happens. And sales is kind of like that as well. Look at the improvement of sales this year. That money's going from physical sales to dealership sales. So leasing is another way out as well. Leasing is just long-term paying for a car forever. You never really own a car. It just changes out every 6 months or 12 months. So it's a great way of doing it. Another way of doing it means you never have to own the car, but there is other downsides as well in that you never own a car and you're restricted to your mileage. Okay, so disagreement there. James Ledden, how dare you? That's not quite correct. 60% of Norwegian new cars are plug-in, just over half of which are fully electric. The VW e-Golf, BMW i3 and Tesla Model S take turns at the best-selling car. Again, it's the same thing as the incentives. It's all about the incentives. So if you incentivize people to do something, they will do it. If you incentivize them properly, they will do it in big numbers. That's the big difference here in Ireland. We put out an incentive and then we don't tell anybody about it. So we just go, yeah, there's £5,000 off your electric car. It's the SCI, and what happens? Car dealerships just subtract the £5,000 from the price anyway. And so you never even know you're getting a £5,000 discount off electric cars. E-Golf or Leaf, go buy the e-Golf, don't buy the Leaf. The old Leaf is dead, right? The old one that's just gone now, that's finished. There's a new one on the way. I haven't driven it yet. I'm sure it's going to be great, but the e-Golf is just a Golf with an electric battery in it. So it's great anyway. Simple as that. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Hi, great channel. Greetings and keep it up. I will, Damien. I'm an overnight success. This channel is 8 years old. Bob, when you say Nissan missed the train, do you have to think about range or something else? No, what Nissan haven't done is updated the Leaf quickly enough. They didn't put enough investment behind it to really capitalize on what they were doing with the Leaf. They've left it for such a long time, and then they've done a great launch last year and invited nobody to it. Now they're bringing it to Ireland and Europe, and they haven't really launched it here either. You know, there's no European proper rollout of the whole thing. So they're so far behind it. Volkswagen have slipped in with the e-Golf. Hyundai are now in the game, of course, with the Ioniq. Kia is going that direction as well. The Nero's here. So there's a lot of ground now. Now the competition's fierce. So they should have done something 2 years ago with the Leaf and really done something smart. Peter, looking at a Renault Kadjar, good car, Signature S Nav as a mobility car in the UK mobility. Okay, seems to be very cheap for leather, heated front seats and electric seats. Is there a build quality issue with the Kadjar? Not that I know of. It wouldn't be necessarily my very first choice in it. There is good reasons why you would pick it. It's a very big car. Pound for pound, space-wise, there isn't anything you're going to get in that price range unless you look at something like SsangYong, which, you know, that's like getting rabies. So it's a difficult one to start looking at, but you can generally, Renault are pumping in stuff into the car to make them more attractive at that price range because there's a lot of competition in that segment. Also look at the Skoda Kodiaq. There's a long waiting list for Kodiaq, but it definitely is worth a look if you're looking at that sort of size of car, although the Kodiaq would cost more money. Wow, there's a lot of questions. Any new car you are looking forward to? New Focus, electric, VW, Golf, alternative, Ferrari, SUV. Yes, 2 weeks time I will, or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, some soon. I will have an electric version of a Golf or a hybrid version of a Golf on a long-term test. So I can see what it's like to plug in a car every day and do this every day and run the car every day. That's going to be very interesting. That'll be a series I'll be doing here on YouTube. So that'll be 100% happening. We've already dealt with that one. E-Golf is too expensive for what it is. 2K more than an i3, which is much more fun to drive. VW is also having issues sourcing batteries and has to slow e-Golf production over just 7,000 a year. I would debate whether it's any better than an i3 or any worse than an i3. The thing that drives me nuts about an i3 is not the way it's built. It's a beautiful car, lovely to drive, all that sort of stuff. But the bloody back doors. You have to open the front doors to open the back doors. What lunatic in the BMW or in the BMW designer plant didn't think about that one for 5 seconds? It's a 5-door family hatchback, and I have to open my door to open that back door. Stupid. Anyway, James Ledden. Oh, still good though. They have great infrastructure and great incentives. Yes. We have better rapid charging infrastructure than Norway. Correct, in 2015. Then we stopped rolling them out almost entirely. The reason we stopped rolling them out is because we're not sure they're necessary anymore. 2, no one's using them. Car sales, electric car sales in Ireland has been fairly miserable and still is. Less than half the rapid chargers in Ireland have EU standard CSS plug, and the i3 e-Golf and probably Model 3 use. Well, that's the joke of it all, is we should only have one plug. How many plugs are there for petrol and diesel? 1. The diesel one's a bit bigger than the petrol one, so it doesn't fit into the same nozzle, but that's it. There's only 1. And yet, for electric car charging, you've got at least 4 or 5 options every time you go anywhere. Stupid. Roads in Shetland Islands are just about the best I've ever driven. No potholes at all. Well, it's fairly small, so there wouldn't be that many up there. David Stafford, do you know if electric car batteries are recyclable? Yes, they are. I'm trying to understand the real environmental savings. There's anything else in the pipeline, rubber band technology, anything. There is hydrogen in the pipeline. There's a few other things. Everyone's keeping their cars close to their chest at the moment. A few other things have been muted along the way, but electric seems to be the way to go. Electric car batteries are totally recyclable, yeah. Renault's in the business of recycling batteries at the moment. Volkswagen are getting into it. Hyundai are in the business of making batteries, Tesla in the business of making batteries and recycling batteries. So they're all in it. They're all starting to get into that business. It is a car battery, a car electric car battery is not one battery. It is millions of little batteries all put into one big place. So you can actually, when one goes, you can take them out and replace another one and recycle the old one. So environmental costs, eventually we'll just all be running on recycled batteries. We won't be getting new ones anyway. Here in West Sussex, the roads are terrible. You see now, there you go, England. You need to sort out your roads. I'm in the UK, so I was meaning the new 2018 Leaf, not the old version. I haven't driven it, so I don't know. David, Renault turns some old batteries into home wall storage. Correct, Amundo, they do. And it's not just home wall storage, but they do more than that. But there's a good range of that stuff coming as well. EV battery lifespan is basically the 20 to 30 year life of the car. They both have a second life as a grid energy storage and are almost 100% recyclable after that. So really good news for electric car batteries. Nearly 100% recyclable all the time. So are all car batteries. My mate runs half his house on truck batteries. Just thought I'd say that. He stores them in a shed out the back all stacked up, and they run the house at night time. They run the heating as well. Breaking news, Bob Flavin has just been uninvited from the next SsangYong press launch. I don't do it. I wasn't talking about the They're kind of 5-door off-road cars are fine, but then there's a thing called, not Rexton. So I've blotted it out of my mind. It's that unimportant to me. It's that big long taxi thing with the 7 seats. It's gigantic, and I swear to you, I'd want someone else's face here if I had to drive one. Leaf is the #1 selling EV only because it's the only one around for years. That's why it's #1 selling EV. Sorry to burst your bubble there, but it's because they did the best marketing system on it, and it was basically the only one on the market. So that's why it's #1 selling EV, not because it is, not because it's the best one. E-Golf sells in minute numbers. Zoe is second biggest. Zoe's the one that deserves most attention about. So it's around Lundham as well. E-Golf only came on the market 2 years ago or something. The Leaf has been around for nearly a decade. So, you know, there's a big difference between the two. Leaf EV is king. Tesla only outsells BMW 5, E-Class and A6 combined. Tesla gives away a lot of their cars. Anyway. The i3 is a dinky car, dual income, no kids. Mine car does Portlaoise to Dublin every day and has 140,000 kilometers on it. Well, that's i3. You drive an i3 in Portlaoise? I've seen an i3 in Portlaoise. Yeah, i3. Look, i3 is a lovely car. I've driven it. I love it. I love the idea. I love how it's made. I love how the i-range is made. It's all donkey jackets and recycled materials, and it's brilliant. Just the oversight of that back door would just drive me nuts. Electric car sales in Ireland are 0.1%. Correct. That's right. But we have to start somewhere. Hey Bob, how do I start my broken lawnmower? Did you take out is it an electric mower lawnmower or is it a petrol lawnmower? But if it's a petrol lawnmower, take out the spark plug, dip it in petrol and give it a little sand with sandpaper and then blow off top and dip it in petrol again, put it back inside, make sure you're not flooded, check the air intake on one side that it's actually getting fuel and that you're not getting the stink of petrol from it the whole time. Make sure the throttle is all the way open as far as the little kind of rabbit thing and start hacking away at that little pull cord and it should start for you, no problem. And anyway, what time of the year it is to bleed start mowing stuff? Nuclear warming out there. Rear i3 doors allow for no B-pillar and more rear space. Most buyers only couples, correct. The odious Rodius, Rodius. Flashback to the Rodius going across speed bumps of Portlaoise and me feeling seasick and wanting to return the car in 15 seconds flat. Petrol and diesel still makes a lot of electric sense. I don't know what that was. Message retracted. SsangYong has to be the crappiest cars ever. I don't think they're crap, and there's 2 S's in SsangYong, but I don't think they're crap. They're not built for Ireland. They were never designed to be here. Never, never, never. So having them here is always causing an issue 100% of the time. Still 83 of you watching. We've gone for 126 minutes. It's absolutely massive day. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button down below. You can click the bell button right beside that to make sure that you get a notification whenever we go live on this. Also, did you get my email a couple of weeks ago? Said Derek Meads. I don't know. Did I answer it, Derek? If I didn't answer it, I probably didn't get it. So it's bobflav@thenextgear.com. Email me again. I try to answer every possible email. I've got quite an increase in email recently. But make sure you're emailing me. Don't send me messages on LinkedIn or some other weird things like that. 7 Series and S-Class? Neither, to be honest with you. Both are fairly meh. I mean, for normal driving day-to-day stuff. 7 Series, I'd pick over an S-Class if I really had to. It's a gorgeous, glorious car, but only if you can afford a driver. If you put someone else in the driver's seat, it's a wonderful car. But anyway, thank you all very, very much for watching. You can submit your stuff down below in the comments if you're watching this as a replay later on, and I do try and answer those questions as well. We've answered many hundreds of questions here today. It's been wonderful having you all here today. There is a list of links down below. You can buy PayPal, Patreon, Bitcoin, any of those things you want to submit money for this Sunday service. I give up every Sunday that I do here, right here with you, to build this community, and it's a wonderful place to be. So many familiar little names popping up on the screen and so many familiar stuff that everybody pays attention to. Over the next couple of weeks I will be doing more of these. There will be more videos coming out. There'll be at least 3 or 4 from Finland. There'll be a few more that'll be coming from Ireland here as well, some reviews and stuff they've done of the Jeep and a few other stuff. It's been wonderful, and coming to Northern Ireland in a couple of months' time as well for the night to go and see Fast and Furious. So if you're at that, I'll hopefully catch up with you while you're there. But until the next time, I will see you on the far side.